Star Trek 57, M23, take 2.
It's the It's Got Star Trek podcast.
Khan, you've got Genesis. But you don't have me. You are going to kill me, Khan. You're going to have to come down here. You're going to have to come down here.
I've done far worse than kill you. I've hurt you. And I wish to go on hurting you. I shall leave you as you left me, as you left her. Marooned for all eternity in the center of a dead planet. Buried alive. Buried alive. Come! Come!
Hello!
Hello!
Hi!
Hey!
Hello!
Hey! Hi!
We're
What are you
getting
guys
started
doing?
here.
Hi!
Hi there!
That's not the best way to get started.
Hi!
Welcome.
Hi!
Welcome, y'all.
Hi!
Welcome to...
What? Welcome to what?
Welcome... the word
Whoa.
Oh, no. Welcome to... Yes, the word is given. It's time to start.
The word is given.
The time is start. This is the time. The time it is started. The time has come.
The started time has been gone, but now it is back.
The time has come to start.
And facts of fact. Remember that song? How can
Oh,
you dump
yeah.
when the something,
Midnight Oil,
something,
yeah.
beds are burning?
Yeah. How can we sleep when our beds are burning?
Oh yeah, I got the first part wrong. How can you sump when the how can you sump when the world
Sump?
when the world is how can you something when
sump?
the when
Like a
the
sump
world is
pump? Oh.
turning?
Well,
How can we sleep when the beds are burning?
Something like that.
welcome to the It's Got Star Trek podcast.
Some heavy business.
You didn't expect to find me. You thought this was SETI Alpha 6.
Oh, it's so fun. Yes. Oh, we're doing it. Oh, we're finally doing it.
The word is given.
At long last.
Stand by.
After endless requests. Sort of.
yeah.
I don't know.
Space, the final frontier.
Okay, I was very worried that you were
To play the whole fucking
play
thing.
the whole fucking
I should have just to be a dick.
Hi everyone. Yes, welcome again. Welcome to the It's Got
Again,
Star
he
Trek
said.
podcast. Yeah, we are finally going to discuss Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
I'll chase him round the moons of Nibia and round the Antares maelstrom and round perdition's flames before I give him up.
How does he know
What
so
a
much
line.
about space?
Yeah, it is.
He's like from the 90s.
Did you hear at the end there was that little horn going burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it. It was a lot of that kind of like military horn sounding stuff going on in
and
this
we'll talk
episode.
about James Horner's.
It kind of reminded me of the
James Horner's, no pun intended, because you're talking about horns, but Horner was the guy who
It reminded me of
conducted this, composed this soundtrack.
What did he do it other soundtracks?
He did Aliens.
Yeah.
Well, he did Alien and Aliens. He cribbed a lot, or he did Aliens for sure.
There's a
He did
military.
other Star Treks.
He put in Aliens. He uses stuff from Star Trek 2 and 3, and he does Star Trek 3 as well, which uses a lot from Star Trek 2.
I feel like there was a military movie that used some kind of horn.
He did the
noises.
Titanic. That's a fairly
was a
militaristic movie.
Titanic.
Yeah, it's got a ship in it.
That's not at all what I was talking. I was
Doesn't
thinking
it
like
has,
along
like,
the
a
lines.
Commodore?
I was thinking along the lines of Patton or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't really remember.
I don't think it was Patton, but
Well, I didn't say it was.
Well,
it was
Aliens was a
Patton.
fairly military.
I meant like
militaristic.
classic a military movie.
Classic, a military movie.
A military.
All right, so we'll talk about all that and more on today's podcast. Yes, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
How will our conversation be derailed?
Well, well, I'm sure we'll find all sorts of
We
clever
are
ways.
dealing with something that could be perverted into a dreadful weapon.
I think that could turn out to be a useful clip in all manner of contexts on this podcast. So,
First order of business, survival.
yeah, so this is episode 323 of the It's Got Star Trek podcast.
Hold, please.
Hang on!
Mini little cavalcade there. Yes, it's taken us a while to get to talking about this movie for a variety of reasons. And you might say, well, you've been doing this podcast for many, many years now. Why haven't you already discussed Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, given it's considered, widely considered, one of, if not the best Star Trek movies, one of the best bits of Star Trek content? Yes, that's
I don't know.
That's precisely why we may have been reticent to discuss this movie in the past, because it's like, what are we going to talk about? Hey, remember that great movie?
Yeah.
We like that movie. And remember all those things that 1,000 million other people have
It's
said
a lot
about this
of
movie?
pressure.
Yeah.
Perhaps you're right.
Nah, it's a lot. Not that we
A
couldn't have...
distinct possibility.
Not that we couldn't have figured it out, but I think that was something that made it a little bit lower on our list. Plus, Dan's algorithm, which some listeners might not be aware of, but Dan has a bespoke algorithm he created. That we won't get into the details, but basically it helps us pick what the topic we're going to discuss, which episode or movie we're going to discuss next is. And Star Trek II has just never come up.
It's usually just episodes of TV.
Yeah.
I don't know if movies are on the list.
I don't know if movies are on the list, but
It would explain a great many things.
but what happened is we discussed Space Seed from TOS, which of course was the first time we see Khan Noonien Singh and all his band of friends.
And there's you can understand this movie without seeing Space Seed, but it really does help a lot
does.
seeing
Yep.
Space Seed. It really gives a lot of context, because it's just like, who's this Khan fellow?
Gives a lot of what?
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
So we discussed. I knew it. We discussed Space Seed, and then we went right from Space Seed into discussing all 9 episodes of the Star Trek Khan podcast.
Excellent.
And I mention that for a couple of reasons. First of all, because listening to that podcast, enjoying that story, really gave us an opportunity to watch Star Trek II from a different angle and from a different framing than has been done. I know other podcasts and other writers and stuff have, I'm sure, discussed this since the Khan podcast has come out.
Postacast.
But it is a bit of a new thing. So that's something new to engage with.
I see your point.
I also mention it because we will, I think, I certainly plan to be referencing that podcast in tonight's discussion, or the discussion for this podcast. It may not be night when you're listening. We know that. We're recording it. But,
People listen to it in the morning.
all manner of days. But the long and the short of it is there's going to be spoilers for the Khan podcast. And if you haven't listened to the Star Trek Khan podcast, we recommend it. I hope I'm not stepping on any or assuming anything from Dan and Jesse over there. I certainly would recommend it.
Yeah.
Recommend
and
what?
The Star Trek Khan podcast.
Oh, yeah.
That is wise.
I won't go overboard with spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything I don't need to spoil. That's my goal anyway. But there's definitely going to be some spoilers from the Khan.
No promises. On your way.
Well, we already talked about it.
Well, yes, but I'm saying if somebody's coming to this episode and they say, oh, it's got Star Trek, those wacky fellows are going to talk about The Wrath of Khan. I've been waiting for them to talk about The Wrath of Khan. But if they're interested in listening to the Khan podcast and they haven't yet, then they're going to get spoiled. So that's what we want to avoid.
Okay.
No.
So
You son of a bitch.
either don't care about that or go back and listen, and then you can spool this episode back up. So that I just...
It's too late.
that one had a nice little extra bit there.
It's too late.
All right.
Did
so,
you? They had a future bosun whistle in this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
This takes place before TNG,
Yes.
which had the regular old bosun whistle.
Right. And they did different things. I have so many sense memories from this film or sound. I don't know what you call it. Sound memories. Because I've seen the movie so many times, but that.
That's hard to do.
The bosun's
I learned
whistle.
how to do that trombone is that triple tongue. It's really hard to do though. I haven't done it in a while.
Triple tongue is ridiculous.
The bosun's is a fond memory of mine. Is the bosun's whistle? No, we got there in the end.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Speaking of TNG, this is kind of jumping ahead, but we're on the subject of TNG.
Okay. I like how you brought up TNG. And now you interrupted me
To bring up
a point about TNG. What? Actually, no. You brought up a point about a bosun's whistle. You refused to let me respond to that point before moving on to TNG, and then you started talking about diggity dick dicks. And then have you ever seen the light? And then he said, speaking about TNG, since we're on the topic of TNG, I'm going to mention this whole other thing. Are we going to talk about the hallways?
No.
What are you going to talk about?
I was going to talk about how Chekhov, he gets taken over. Okay, first of all, are we going to refer to these things as SETI eels? Or what are we going to refer to these things as?
That's what they are.
But they are from the podcast, not from the movie.
No, I think they were called SETI eels.
they called them that before,
not in the
yeah.
movie, but I think in the fandom.
In other things.
I think that
in
SETI eel
novels and
games and so
forth.
It predates in my mind.
That thought had not occurred to me.
Maybe it's in the novelization of Star Trek 2. Who knows?
Okay, well, we're going to call them SETI eels.
Okay, but speaking of TNG,
so Chekhov gets taken over by the SETI eels, so is Terrell, and they both turn on, we all know the thing, they turn on Kirk and all that stuff. By the way, the SETI eels weren't...
they turn on Kirk because they're all like, you're so sexy.
The thing is these SETI eels are such a strong memory in this movie, but they really play a very small role, and they're really only just a plot device.
They're a MacGuffin.
Yeah, they're just a way to get... to move the plot along, to that's all they do is move plot from one point to the next. That's all they do. And that's
Plot
the only reason they're
home.
there. But there's such a strong memory because it sort of contributes to this idea. This movie is action, suspense, and horror, and there's a few horror elements.
That's one of them.
And so, but anyways, it leaves this strong sort of memory. And watching it again, I'm reminded of how really they don't really play a big role at all in the movie. But Chekhov, when he goes back and is like, "Can I take my position back on the ship?" Later on, he's all sheepish because he just fucked him over. Now
I'm trying to kill you.
Yeah, but can I get my seat back? And he's all embarrassed and sheepish, and it's like you guys, you betrayed us, but they're all cool with it and everything. Doesn't that happen though, all the time in TNG, where some officer is firing on some other officer because an alien overtook their brain? So it's just funny.
Consider Data. People have pointed out Data is frequently getting reprogrammed or whatever in some vicious way.
And granted, obviously, this was created much before TNG, but it is just kind of funny comparing them how devastating, how devastated Chekhov was and how he was so embarrassed about this whole thing. But at the end of TNG episode, they're just like, I didn't know what I was doing. Some alien just had me putting a gun on this person.
Right. And Terrell shot himself.
Yeah.
Well, that was another fucked up part. Although I wouldn't limit it to TNG. I think Star Trek in general of that period had various examples.
Why did what Terrell, when he shot himself, why did the eel decide that it had to leave his ear at that point? I don't understand.
They don't explain why it decided to ditch Chekhov.
And they also don't explain. They say that when the SETI eel takes you over, you become suggestive.
For a while before the madness and death.
Okay, because what who has that suggestive power? Because
I think anybody.
So that's why I'm saying, when Terrell turned his shit on Kirk, couldn't Kirk just be like, "You don't want to do that," and then he'd be like, "You're right, I don't." It seems like they only when you get taken over by a SETI eel, there's this short period of time. It's almost like the first person the baby duck sees is now its mother. It's like maybe the first person who suggests to a newly taken over
the duckling scenario.
Yeah, if the first person
this is like a 1970s spy movie.
When the person gets taken over with a SETI eel, maybe
starring Robert Redford, the duckling scenario.
When the person gets taken over with a SETI eel, maybe it's the first person who makes the suggestion is the one who wins, because it's never clear who the SETI eel listens to.
I think that's perfectly reasonable headcanon.
Yeah, it's headcanon.
Headcanon.
That's the whole point, though, is it's headcanon.
Still a term I'm uncomfortable with, especially when we're talking about Terrell blowing his brains out, figuratively speaking.
I was not attempting to evaluate its moral implications, Doctor.
Great discussion there. All right, okay, look, we're going to get into all of this, SETI eels and whatnots and this, that.
There's a whole lot of this.
Excellent.
This is probably going to be a puffy episode. So we'll be a little loose with the timing on this episode because we want to make sure we cover all the major points. But we do have
a lot of pressure.
We have one voicemail, but before we get to the voicemail, I did want to ask Dan what we have today in terms of his bag of tricks.
Bag of tricks.
Dan's bag of tricks.
My bag of tricks.
I can tell you that, of course.
Is there one of them Dan's can't stand?
In the
that's right.
In the third break, we will be doing a where the hell have I heard that? No, is it where the hell have I heard that before? Yes, it is. It's where the hell have I heard that before? Is our new game we've been playing, our sound clip game,
and
so we will be doing that later.
And I forgot to end last episode with this. That's $1, not a dish. I forgot to end the episode.
That's
last
Dan's
week.
new thing because Dan in his Dan Can't Stand segment talked about how he doesn't like when people put the
for reminding me
put the bills in your hand and then the coins when you give you change because it's crazy. We all agree.
You drop the change everywhere.
And so Dan came up with the phrase. It
needs to spread.
It's not a plate, you bub. What was it? What's the
it's
phrase?
not a plate, you bub. That's I kind of like. It's not as catchy, but it's got a little more whip to it.
Did I get what I got it wrong?
That's $1, not a dish.
That's $1, not a dish.
What'd you say? That's not a plate, you bub.
I love that neither you nor I can remember what I just said.
Never rains, but it pours.
Yes. So there's that. Any other things though, or do we have any duty or no duties?
There are not 1, not 2, not 3, not 5, not 6, not 7.
There's four duty or no duties.
I'm
guessing that because you skipped 4.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you just let me say it?
I thought that you were trying to make it
because you were stalling.
super clear.
Oh.
That it was going to be 4.
You thought I was.
I thought you wanted us to call.
Okay.
You that.
Oh yeah. I'll take the blame for that.
So
I'll take the blame.
4
for that.
duty or no duties.
He asks me.
Are there any? What's the other business?
Lists.
Yes, lists. Do you have any lists?
Yes, there are. I have a list called Bitter Kirk.
Okay.
I have a list called Emotional Savick, and then there's just some comparisons to the Con podcast. We don't necessarily have to go over all these things.
Do you have a list about like who's still alive from this movie?
Yeah.
No, you should have made that list.
Not a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, a few people.
Okay, so that's something to look forward to. Some duties or no duties, some lists, and I'm sure we'll make
Explain it to them.
we'll make a lot of really good points along the way. So why don't we first we have a voicemail from Isaac, and Isaac is responding to a request we had last week. So for those who didn't listen last week, Dan misspoke at one point. He was trying to say the word lessons.
What did I do?
And instead he said lessos.
Oh, no.
And then we all laughed.
right.
We all laughed.
yeah.
I made the joke that's what they call lessons in Australia. And then
Sabotage.
we asked one of our Australian listeners to call us up.
Now I
and Isaac reliably was listening, and he called up and he left this message for us, providing some explanation and talks about a couple other things. So take it away, Isaac.
Hey, wingers, dingers, and fingers.
Okay,
It
hold
is
on.
Isaac.
Did you just
Wingers,
don't sing?
Okay. Sorry. Yikes. No. What is? I think everyone can guess what has happened. That's the problem is there's still going.
Oh my God!
Oh, God.
No, you have to.
How will this even
Sabotage.
I have to apologize because I'm having a little difficulty actually.
What?
I can't find.
Oh my God! I am going crazy. Oh my God! There's like a chorus of Isaacs.
I know, dude.
I'm trying to figure out how I can stop them.
Fucko.
I cannot find where. I cannot find where
this
they're
human is full
actually
of words.
playing Here, hold on here. Okay, all right.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, I'm actually dizzy from laughing. Okay.
That was
I found them. I think I can start pausing these. My apologies.
You like lost them on your computer too, so they just kept going.
Yeah, no, unfortunately.
I'm not
I
joking, Lee.
I clicked a few times. Do we have any? Okay.
There was no joke.
Okay. I think
Are you ready?
I think I got rid of all of them.
Okay.
All right. Apologies
Jesus.
for that. So, without further ado, we will now. I
don't get it.
I'm only going to click it the one
A
time.
little bit of a do.
I'm just going to click it the one time. And we'll hear Isaac's voicemail. Here we go.
Hey, wingers, dingers, and fingers. It is Isaac from the Trek 365 podcast calling in like you asked me to. So, first of all, Patrick, you asked me and Australia if we use the word lessons. And look, we would use the word lessons instead of lessons if we could be bothered to learn anything. So we don't really use it because it's not a word that comes up. But what I did is I had a look in the Star Trek list of episodes, and sure enough, there is an episode called Lessos out there in Australia. So I'm going to pop that on after recording this. Okay, second of all the mumps. I'm going to have a shot at Where the Hell Have I HTB. I think that
HTB?
That noise you played last week was the bit before that lady goes, a duck. So I don't know what episode that is. I think it's TOS.
That's a deep duck.
Yeah, I'd like to
deep cut.
Claim my It's Got Star Trek chair, which is the prize this week.
Bespoke
and
chairs.
I also have been practicing some yodeling for Dan.
Nice. Oh, not so nice. That was a dig. That was a dig.
You guys can have that. That's yours now. I did have something else. Oh, yeah. I was going to start off by going, hi, John, Don and Ron, instead of Wingus, Dingus and Thingus. And then I thought that I would be gone. And then I was reminded of Tekken 3. So I thought it would be really good if you guys could let us know your favourite Tekken 3 character. Mine was Eddie Gordo. You get that guy on his hands waving his feet around, there's no way you're going to get any hits in. And once I was doing this, there was this mode on Tekken 3 where you could basically go 8 characters versus 8 characters, and once your character died, the next one came in. Anyway, Ned had me down to my last guy, which was Eddie, and he had 7 left, and I won because you just can't beat Eddie Gordo. And he threw his controller and stormed out of the room. I still remind him of that. It only happened last week. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing your replies to all of that, or an edited down version of this because this was pretty long. And don't forget, guys, stay tuned after the break because we've got a great game based on the Wrath of Khan. So, yeah, we've got a Wrath of Khan me-ups coming up, and this is going to be really special this week. So looking forward to hearing that and playing along from home. See you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Agamus.
Thank you, Isaac.
The Borg. B. The Borg. B. The Borg. B.
A duck!
I can tell you now, Isaac. Thank you for your guess for Where the Hell Have I Heard That? For Where the Hell Have I Heard That Before?
Not a duck, but a dig. He gave me a dig.
It is not a duck,
but a dig.
No, it is. Your guess was incorrect. But
no.
We'll have the correct answer later.
He was saying about that duck sound effect. But he also did the yodeling, which was a dig.
Yes,
so
he was commenting on the fact.
So that's why I was saying not a duck, but a dig. Yeah, it was a little bit.
In last week's episode, Dan was using the term yodeling for stuff that.
It was
the opinion of some of the other people on the podcast was not in fact yodeling. It was just singing.
It was as much yodeling as the first thing we called yodeling was. It was no more or less yodeling than the first thing we called yodeling. So I was just going with the precedent we had set.
With the precedent, I understand.
It's not my fault entirely.
All right, it's absolutely.
It's all your fault. As far as Tekken 3 goes, I like that dude with the tiger as a head.
Yeah.
And anyone who has nunchucks in fighting games, if you have nunchucks, you're probably my favorite character.
I don't have a lot of experience.
I don't know if anyone has nunchucks in Tekken
with
though.
Tekken, but I think I remember some game. It's like there's like a dinosaur with boxing gloves, right?
That's Tekken.
Yeah, word.
But I don't know about Tekken 3. Tekken 3 definitely has the.
I like the dinosaur,
the leopard head or the tiger head fella. I like the blonde gal. I can't remember her name. Was it Nina something? I can't remember. Maybe that's a different character. But I was a fan of playing as the blonde gal and kicking ass as the.
I think I only played it once.
That was either Tekken or Virtua Fighter. Probably Tekken, because Tekken is the one that most people play. Yeah. I think there was a nunchuck character.
I like that Soul Blade.
I don't think nunchucks actually work in real life, do they?
I don't know, but they're super
one of those
cool.
Things where you just hurt yourself. Like the only thing that ever happens with nunchucks is you just hurt yourself.
It seems like it'd be better to have just a sword.
Somebody knows how to. Yeah, swords are.
Or like a Glock, like a 9mm.
Good thing we brought the
Glock 17.
So, it's
Glock 19, I suppose.
It's saying that Law had nunchucks, but I don't remember because Soul Calibur was more the weapon game.
Yeah,
Tekken wasn't so much
swords,
about weapons,
but somebody had nunchucks.
What about Final Fight? You remember Final Fight?
I remember Final Fight.
That shit was silly.
That was fun though. You could be Hagar.
Yeah. Okay, well, Star Trek 2.
Oh, yes.
Star Trek 2.
How will this
I think we
Wait,
answered
I'm
all
still-
of Isaac's.
Conversation be
Isaac's.
Well, now I'm still thinking about fighting games. Thinking about
You keep thinking about those.
nunchuck.
You just
nunchuck.
wanna fight.
Okay, what about
This
like
guy wants to fight.
What about like ball and chain, like some people call the Morning Star? Is that actually useful? Seems like you'd hurt yourself with that one. Nunchuck is
You got to know what you're doing. dude.
that's a flail. So a nunchuck would be a flail
Same,
too, right?
It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, flail. So are flails worth your time? Is the question.
I think they probably only have ever existed because they look neat, but people don't actually pick them in the pile.
And yeah,
They're always
And
like,
it-
I'll take the sword.
Sword is sword, spear.
a little note
Oh.
about Eddie Gordo. In order to win with Eddie Gordo, don't you just have to press the 2 low kick buttons alternately? And basically, he does the
he does the sweep kick,
capoeira.
yeah.
He just
Yeah,
does a
that's
ton
right.
of capoeira and just beats everyone.
Hey,
Isn't that
that's
the deal?
fine. It's the same thing in John Madden 93. You could play as the Redskins, which is what they were called then, and you do a halfback option and throw for a touchdown every single time.
Fire!
Just some video game tips for old video games.
Tippity tips.
You happen to be playing them.
Remember,
Just the tips.
Okay. So we've done all the front matter, gotten all the bits and bobs out of the way, and we can delve
Gonna actually talk about the movie.
deeply into this discussion of a classic film.
This is incredible.
I did want to start out, before we get to the specifics of the plot and all that other fun stuff, very briefly, wanted to check with both of you folks
Both of us.
what your sort of history with this film was and or where you position it, because everyone's got different vibes on different things, right? So I'm just kind of curious, like Dan, where did you see this as a kid, or was it later on? Like, was this always a favorite? Was this is this lower on your list? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I've seen all Star Trek movies at some point. The one that I remember least is the first one. It was so long ago, and I haven't bothered to rewatch it in decades. So
I only
remember it was
watched it
nothing
like
but-
way after the fact.
Yeah, Khan is.
I've watched the first one a few times.
I've seen
recently.
Khan several times, and it's a good movie. The interesting thing is I haven't seen it. This is another movie I actually haven't seen in a long ass time. And, you know, it's called Wrath of Khan, but the movie is about Khan, but it's really about Kirk being like kind of a grumpy pants.
It's about aging.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It's
A bunch of those Star Trek movies are about aging.
The Wrath of Khan.
And I was going to say, I didn't remember that until I didn't remember it being about that until watching it again recently, because the Khan bits, when you look at the Khan fight at the end, like there's nothing really, the Khan fight's not terribly suspenseful. Like, for example, when Kirk beat General Chang in was that the Undiscovered
Fire?
Was that
The
Undiscovered
Undiscovered Country, also directed by Nicholas Meyer.
Now that was a more suspenseful final ship battle, I thought, than the Khan fight. The Khan was just kind of like sneaky maneuvers, but the final shot that killed Khan, it was just like, oh, the Enterprise appears behind him, and boom, now he's dead. So but it wasn't about that. It wasn't so much about like super. It was about tactics for sure.
It's all submarine
and neat tactics and like and subterfuge and things like that. But there wasn't a ton of like crazy like maneuvers, ship maneuvers,
because it's fundamentally about aging, and that's what and your place in the world and how that might change.
Right. So when Khan actually got defeated, it wasn't like, it was just kind of like, oh, he's dead now. It wasn't so much like, it wasn't like the Kirk's like fire on Chang, you know, which was this big suspenseful missile like flying around and fighting him, and Chang going like, oh shit. Yeah. Anyway. So, oh shit.
I'm Christopher Plummer. Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
And I think that is one of the things that underpins the quality of this film, where you can have a very good film, very entertaining movie, good story, good plot elements and stuff, but if it has that little extra flavor of a connective theme that's really well thought out, and I think it is here, I think that's one of the things that can help position something as a classic. And another example I would give would be the first Jurassic Park movie, where I think a lot of people in subsequent time, when they're making, even Steven Spielberg, when they're making other Jurassic Park movies, they're like, people want to watch a movie about dinosaurs, when the first Jurassic Park movie is like about family. And then the dinosaurs is around that. And so there's a theme that's not even necessarily like in front of your face. Although, you know, they talk a lot about aging.
Yeah. I mean, amidst all of this, like, sinister sort of activity going on, Kirk and Carol Marcus had time to sit down and talk about like David and their family and their they had time to talk about their family in the midst of all of this. They had time in that movie to talk about, which was good.
It was a very well-timed movie.
This movie lets the pace of this movie is great because it lets these scenes breathe, and we'll go into more detail. But the scene with Kirk and McCoy in Kirk's apartment, the scene of Kirk and Spock in Spock's quarters, these are scenes that are so important because they can just talk.
And what was interesting about those scenes is both Spock and Bones are basically telling Kirk the same thing, but Kirk is like responding like kind of like belligerently to Bones, but to Spock he's like, no, Spock, whatever you want to do, Spock, whatever. Oh, no. But it's all about like, their prior relationship, but it's also how one approaches the other, because Bones does his usual like, God damn it, you stupid goddamn guy.
He's like, I'm your doctor and your friend.
Yeah, and I love when Spock says this.
Jim, you proceed from a false assumption.
That whole part is great.
That, by the way, people often talk about lines from movies or TV shows that become part of their own lexicon, their own phrases. That is one of the many lines in this movie that I either think or actually say out loud.
And it's so well like expressed and worded, because the wording is like, you're wrong, what you're saying, what your thoughts are wrong, they're false. So it's kind of like this negative thing saying like, you don't know what you're talking about, but it's doing it in this way that's expressing like love and caring.
It's a nice way to say it, because you proceed from a false assumption. You're making a decision based off of incorrect information.
Yeah, which if we're put in the wrong scenario would piss someone off, but in this scenario it like puts Kirk at ease, because it's like he's just very soothing, and the message he's trying to convey is one of like, just like, I'm with you on this, man.
How about you, Jesse?
I saw this movie a couple of years ago at the theater at Mosaic.
Oh, so you saw it on the big screen?
Yeah,
that's awesome. I've never seen.
Yeah, it was one of those special. I think you guys had seen. You guys went to see Star Trek 4.
We did go see Star Trek 4. That was, I think I've described it on the podcast
a little bit before that.
That experience was slightly marred by the fact that I took a cannabis pill, and it was more than I had expected. And
now, will someone please tell me what's going on?
Everything went crazy.
When I watched it, it was around the time that we were talking about Star Trek 4, I think. But anyway, that's just a coincidence. And then it seems like I've seen this movie like throughout my life, like, when it was a new movie it was on HBO, it was on TV a lot. I just happened to I've seen it a lot over the years, but I happen to have seen it recently on the big screen, which was nice.
Yeah, Patrick, that time that we saw Star Trek 4, remember I was saying that when I drove you home, the whole time I thought you were nervous by my driving, and I was like, I'm not driving bad, am I? I think I'm driving pretty well, but the whole time I thought Patrick was like, he's driving like a fucking asshole. I was like, I'm not.
You don't drive like an asshole.
I was like, what the fuck, Patrick? I'm driving fine.
It's because
You're a great driver.
I was grasping onto the
you were.
The window. I was just like holding on.
I know. I thought I was like doing something wrong.
No, it's fine. Everything's fine. The world was zooming by at 1,000 miles an hour.
I'm laughing at the superior.
It seems like this movie, they made a Star Trek movie that people wanted to see versus like the motion picture was like probably too cerebral for a lot of people. And this is like lots of action. It gets right into the action. There's all the the beginning bits with the classic characters interacting, and everybody digs it because they're all talking and drinking and hanging out.
Well, and at the same time,
there's a lot of different things they jump around to.
I think Jesse, I think you're right.
But they get right into the action once they get on the Enterprise, and like things start happening, and it's right away. It's lots of spaceship, space blasties, and sort of like submarine kind of.
Yes, definitely. It's like a submarine or a sailing ship movie, first of all. Nicholas Meyer decided to direct it that way. But I agree with you in part about how, yes, I think they were able to make the movie that people actually wanted to see, whereas the motion picture, which we will discuss at some point, I'm actually a fan of the motion picture. It's a flawed but interesting movie. But the motion picture was also, you give Gene Roddenberry a ton of money and he decides to shift things and go a direction that he wants to go that people weren't as interested in. Nicholas Meyer was able to bring it back, but I think the key element also is not just that it was, yes, let's get the old characters back together, let's get the Enterprise, but at the same time, let's move things forward. Whereas the motion picture didn't do that as much. It was more about like, let's just pretend like everything's not far from the show.
Right.
This is that topic, that theme about aging is right there, right at the beginning. You're like, oh, okay, they're telling some a new chapter in the story of these people.
It's his birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Fascinating.
Birthday.
But Jesse, what you were saying about like ships and such, that reminded me of there was a shot near the end in the Face Off. There was this awesome overhead shot of the Reliant flying by with lightning, and then like it's followed by another shot of after that of the Enterprise from overhead too.
Crisscrossing,
and I can't remember.
It's like one of them old video
what
games.
It was is there was a shot of the Enterprise was flying, and all you see is the Enterprise, and it's flying, and then after a second, the Enterprise reveals that way below the Reliant is flying far below it with more lightning. It just reveals it after a few, because it's been there the whole time. You just don't see it because the Enterprise is covering it, and it was just such a great shot. And of course, there's all these like, I don't know what was in the background, if they were some kind of black holes or nebulas or what the fuck.
It's in the nebulas. There's just a bunch of purple gas.
Yeah, just a bunch of shit. And I was wondering, but it like, I always love looking at the sort of the scale of things. I was wondering like how far below was the Reliant to the Enterprise in that shot? Who knows? But it just gave me that sense of
Lots
like,
of
wow.
kilometers.
And there was another shot.
Good sense of scale conveyed here.
And speaking of scale, I always love the scenes when they're docking like the Star Trek ships. Yeah. Like in this one when they're doing the inspection, because they always show you the docking station, then there's always some person like wandering around and this giant ship like in the background in the dock. It's just that's
the one guy in a spacesuit's kind of waving.
Yeah, right.
He's like, all right.
And that gives you another sort of great sense of scale. I would love anytime they dock and undock. It's cool. And then there's always don't forget about the sort of phallic shuttle docking scene.
I won't forget, Dan.
Don't forget that.
I won't forget about that.
Have you ever seen the light?
I might forget about Dre, but I won't forget about that.
Ha.
All right. Why don't we take a break?
Why?
We barely scratched the surface.
It's a puffy show, but we're gonna.
It's a puppy show. Where are the puppies?
Puffy show.
I want a puppy.
I'm gonna take a puff.
But we're gonna take a brief break. And when we get back, we will continue our discussion of Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Be right back.
Company dismissed.
And we're back.
Why, bless me, Doctor. What beams you into this neck of the woods?
Why are you here? Now tell me, why are you here?
There's nothing here. The tricorder must be broken.
Did that make you think of Ivan from the Star Trek Con podcast?
They were on the sand planet. You know, the sand effects were a little bit cheesy, but they were effective.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you don't look too closely, it's really looks like a shitty fucking planet.
It definitely looks like a shitty fucking planet.
But, like, if you look closely, you can see it's kind of cheesy. But it's okay. It did a good job, like, of making me think that, like, I really don't want to be on that planet. They were there for at least 10 years. They said it's been 15 years since they'd been stranded on that planet. So they were there for, like, 10 years, like, on that shit planet.
Well, yeah, the SETI Alpha 6 exploded 6 months after they arrived. They were there for 15 years total.
They were underground for a bit.
But they were they were above ground for
you're
like
right.
10
Yeah,
years.
you're right. I forgot about the 5 years underground. From the Star Trek Con podcast.
From the podcast.
Real quick, Dan, because I didn't mention my background with this movie, I'll do it very briefly. I did already mention that similar to Jesse, the movie was just kind of always on. I had it on VHS. I watched it a bunch. It was on TV a lot. I always really enjoyed this film, and it's one of the few Star Trek films that I always thought of as like actually a good movie. And I don't mean that in a pejorative sense to other Star Trek films. What I meant, a better way to put it is, I think this is one of those Star Trek films, one of the few Star Trek films that really can be an enjoyable movie for somebody who has no knowledge of the Star Trek franchise. It's way better, I think, if you have some knowledge, of course, but compared to some of the other movies, I think just as a movie, this works very well. It's very nicely structured. But, as for my youthful interest in this movie, I've always had a fantasy, since we mentioned talking about how this is like a submarine or a pirate ship type movie. Ever since I was like a teenager, I had a fantasy about remaking this movie, like the exact same script, except with like a 17th century ship battle kind of thing. Just to make minor modifications to do that.
Planets.
They kind of did that with Master and Commander, because people kind of joke about it, half joke, semi-serious, that Master and Commander is like one of the best Star Trek movies, which I'm one of the people who buys into that. If you haven't seen Master and Commander,
I still haven't seen it.
Go check it out.
I think that's the deal with the books too. That's sort of.
I've heard the books are great too. I have them on my list to read, the series of books. But yeah, so important film, I think, to my learning to love Star Trek. I think watching this film probably really helped get me deeper into Star Trek as a young lad, and also interested in the art of film itself because of how nicely structured the movie is.
Yeah, man.
Is that all you got to say?
For the moment, it is. For the moment.
Well done, Commander.
Now, we can get back to whatever it was that Dan was gesticulating and waving his hands around.
So the SETI Alpha 6 explodes, and it I guess all the pieces.
That was SETI Alpha 6.
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah.
This is SETI Alpha 5!
We finally have the real clip. We're always making that joke. We're always making this is the SETI Alpha 5 joke.
This is SETI Alpha 5!
This is Deep Space Nine! This is Holodeck 3! It's always 3, except when it's 2.
Let them eat static.
All right, so
That's got to be a play on the Let Them Eat Cake or something.
No,
I think it's got to be, right? Let them eat static. Let them eat cake.
Now, here's a question for you, because I've interpreted this different ways. I used to think it was let them eat static. I've started to think
it is let them eat static.
You may have evidence to help me. I'm not asserting anything. I'm not asserting anything here, Dan. And in fact, you may be able to help resolve this issue in my mind, because I used to just think it was let them eat static. Then I started to drift towards he's actually saying let them meet static. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't necessarily make more or less sense. It's just sort of when you play that, play it again, Dan.
Let them eat static.
See, the way it's phrased, it could be either.
Let them eat static.
Now.
Music is cool too.
Yeah, it is. There's another cool music with this
all
one.
the music
we are
is
one big happy
all
fleet.
the music is good here. This entire movie is just good music.
Wait, this is the same music.
We are one big happy fleet.
Yeah, the use of music in this movie is
Let
amazing.
them eat static.
But yes, is it meat or eat?
We are one big happy fleet.
I imagine, Dan.
Yeah.
Who knows Jesse? I don't want to leave Jesse out of this. It's just because both of you are closed captioning people.
Yes,
is what I'm getting at.
Yes, go.
And so
say what you're saying.
So the closed captioning and I don't mean and or.
Oh God, just say what you're saying.
I don't mean and or the Star Wars
just
television.
say the thing.
And I'm not talking about the home planet of the Andorians.
Oh my God.
Shran and the other Andorians.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
But
Do you have any idea what you're saying?
what does it say either in the closed captioning or in the script if you happen to have
it says in both, don't let them eat static.
Let them
and
eat
since
static.
Khan has an affinity for all these sort of phrases, first of all, he says that revenge is a best dish served cold.
A dish best served cold.
Yeah, he attributes that to Klingons, but that's not.
That's a joke.
That's a joke.
It's a joke that's
That's a little joke.
Nicholas Meyer did the same joke, a variation, maybe a progression of the joke in Star Trek VI, where he has General Chang refer to Shakespeare. You should understand Shakespeare in the original Klingon.
All these, okay, yeah.
You know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, Shakespeare is better than the original.
All
Klingon.
these Star Trek villains like to quote literature and stuff, or plays or whatever.
Well, Star Trek is very theatrical.
Isn't it like Sun Tzu or something?
Well, there's all
That's a little joke.
there's all sorts of references, and particularly here, there's the Moby Dick reference being the main one, both structurally for the movie itself as well as things that Khan actually says.
Totally.
Yeah.
Pierre I can't pronounce French for the life of me.
Nobody can.
A French author.
Je m'appelle Patrick.
who included
Je
in his
n'étais pas
1782 epistolary novel,
Epistolary.
La Liaison Dangereuse. I can't pronounce.
Oh, that's
French.
Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah.
Liaison dangereux. Dangereux.
Oh, that dude.
That dude, you know,
Okay,
the
but
Dangerous Liaisons.
look, the point I'm getting at is that he's into all these like phrases and stuff, and when he said let them
eat static.
that's not just something a normal person says under any circumstance. So I feel like he's referencing let them eat cake.
It's not let them eat cake.
It's gotta be.
No.
He's not a normal person.
That doesn't make sense because
Yes,
let them eat cake is a quote falsely attributed to was it Maria Antoinette or whatever, which is referencing social dynamics. Which is
it's like let them think that they're getting good shit when they're not.
It's implied to that phrase, that cliched phrase is used to convey class distinction, a distaste for the lower class, and misunderstanding.
It's saying give them what they think they want while we fuck them over. Is what let them eat cake is.
She actually said something like let them eat like brioche.
Yes, and in the context, let them eat cake is meant to show how the elite don't understand that the poor don't have access to cake. So they're like, well, there's no bread, so let them eat cake. That's what it meant to convey. That doesn't make any sense. I thought
context.
Let
them eat cake meant let them let them think they're enjoying good shit while really we're fucking them over.
No, it's meant to show that she's so removed from the lower classes that she doesn't understand that if they can't eat, because they're complaining that there's no bread.
Like they don't have cake.
So she's like, well, if you don't have bread, just eat some cake. And she's like, she doesn't understand that the poor classes don't have access to cake.
I thought it was like, let them have their cake and they'll enjoy the cake because cake is super tasty and sweet and yummy and they think they're getting all this good shit because they're eating cake, but really
that's bread and circus.
But we're just giving them the cake to make them think that they're getting good shit while really we're fucking them over. They're too busy eating cake to notice that we're fucking them over.
The poor people are not getting cake is the point.
Nobody's got cake.
The point is that the rich people don't understand that the poor people need food to survive and don't have any options. Is what is meant to convey. But anyway, that doesn't make sense in this context with Khan. I think this is just a variation on the phrase like "let them eat my dust" or "let them eat what," I don't know, something like that.
I just don't understand what.
Let them eat static.
It just seems like it's the choice of words seems like it would have to reference something. It seems like he wouldn't just say "let them eat static" for no reason. That's such a needless way to word something unless you're referencing something else.
Hence why I thought it might be "let them meet static."
But that makes less sense.
No, their ears will meet static when they open up the communications channels. They will meet static instead of something else. To me, that makes perfect sense.
That's also needlessly worded.
Khan is a theatrical motherfucker.
Yeah, he's one of them augments.
So yeah, exactly. He's theatrical, which means when he's
his daughter's all into Shakespeare.
Which means when he's saying something, he's referencing something else that already exists.
Perhaps.
Which is my point.
All right. So now, the issue here is, Dan, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Okay,
Dan.
look,
let's all agree that we don't have enough information to answer the question.
Let's agree that that's a
No, I didn't. We're not.
He didn't say that.
We're not disagreeing.
From hell's heart, I stab at thee.
We're not disagreeing. What we're doing is we're giving our audience an opportunity. We're crowdsourcing the problem, right? So we are missing some information. So audience out there, all you smart people, way smarter than us, write into feedback@itsgotstartrek.com or find us on social media @itsgotstartrek and let us know if this one very specific particular line from Khan, let them eat static or let them meet static.
Well, first of all, it's not
if it's a reference to something.
But it's not even let them meet static, so that's moot.
I'm just tossing it in there because maybe it is.
Well, why not? Well, what if he said, let them fart on my face? What if he said that?
That would be toots.
So throw your opinion in there about that, too. It's also something he didn't say.
I wouldn't mind our listeners' opinions on that line, even though that is much further removed and is not.
The point is that he only said one thing is the point I'm making.
Yeah, but it's debatable.
Just because it sounds like something else doesn't mean it's any closer to actually saying that thing. Anyway, look, the original thing I was getting at was SETI Alpha 6 exploded. Yes. Now, the pieces of SETI Alpha 6 hit the planet, causing the planet to get all fucked up. But I'm also imagining it fucked up the tides or some shit too, right? With the gravity.
Khan references in the movie. He talks about it shifting the orbit.
The gravity
it shifted the orbit. So I was gonna say if what caused it to get all fucked up was the pieces of the planet hitting the planet. I would think that no amount of hiding in caves would save them. So it must have just been it going out of orbit to fuck up the gravity and shit.
In the Khan podcast, there's a little bit more focus on the there's like actual like rocks raining down. In Wrath of Khan, they make it a little clearer that it's the orbit was impacted, because even if you shift the orbit just a little bit, you can fuck shit up pretty bad. One presumes.
Yeah.
Botany Bay.
So by the way, talking about youthful hilarious brain actions, I saw this movie maybe 100 times before I understood that Chekhov was saying Botany Bay, as in the Botany Bay, the name of the ship that Khan was on, which was also the name of a penal colony in Australia, as I recall, right? So that's also a sort of historical / literary reference, the Botany Bay. I just forgot that the name of the ship was the Botany Bay. So, when I was watching it on a little screen, you can't read the buckle as much, and so Chekhov, I was just like Botany Bay, Botany Bay, Botany Bay. I was like, what is Botany Bay?
It's the girl from Ipanema. Botany Bay.
Botany Bay.
Damn. Well, that's another. Oh, damn. That's another reason that watching the episode would actually make the movie clearer, which is why if you don't see the episode Space Seed, the movie's not going to make as much sense, because he says Botany Bay, and if you've never seen the episode, you're going to be like, who cares?
But isn't Chekhov like not in that episode?
He's not in that episode. Chekhov didn't start in TOS until season 2.
Yeah, that was another confusing part. But the point is that
those classic.
But Botany Bay is meaningless to anyone who hasn't seen the TOS episode. And here, listen to the sound they're playing in the background.
Botany Bay.
That's like one of those crinkly long plastic tubes. Have you ever done that, where you swing it in the air and they make that wind noise?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just words.
But good words.
Can we hear it again?
Good words.
Yeah.
Botany Bay.
Man, great sound design in this one. We're totally falling into the. Oh, the movie was great. Yeah, it was great.
It's not like a synthesizer or something.
No,
I think Dan's right.
Botany Bay.
Because of that. Yeah. I mean, if it's a synthesizer, they did a good job synthesizing the wavy too.
When he says
just words,
I think that the Khan podcast was referencing this when the conversation between Khan and Del Mondo, Del Mondo was talking about like all this good stuff, and Khan was like, just words.
Yeah. And Del Mondo said Khan's words back to him, basically, and it was a similar setup.
Del Mondo said words that have been coupled with actions that should have long ago settled your doubts. Yeah. Which is what David said when he said
good words.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
I mentioned that when that came up. I mentioned this part.
Did you?
Yeah, I wrote.
Romulan ale. Romulan ale. Romulan ale, Romulan ale, Romulan ale, Romulan ale.
James Kirk.
So okay,
is Commander Kyle like the same like Mr. Kyle?
Yeah. It's the same actor,
same dude,
same actor as well.
There's also a
every time somebody says Chekhov in this movie, I think they're saying jack off, which is on me. I get it. It's on me.
That's you.
That's ridiculous.
There's
also clearly saying Chekhov.
There's a guy named Mr. Beach in this.
Yeah, Mr. Beach.
Mr. Beach.
Who's Mr. Beach? Is that a character?
He's on the Reliant.
He says limited atmosphere dominated by crayon gas, sand, and high velocity winds. It's incapable of supporting life forms. It's when they picked up a minor energy flux reading on City Alpha, which means something.
Yeah. Well, this was the other part about this movie that's fun is I enjoy the idea of it's like they're doing science. There's some scientists, and then there's Starfleet is
there's outpost science.
Look for science, and they're all getting frustrated because they're like, we can't find a lifeless planet. It's like, oh, does it have to be completely lifeless? It's like, it's just going to say if we try to transplant stuff.
Wait.
That stuff is
Let
awesome.
me get this straight. Something you can transplant?
and nicely edited together because it's like, what she'll say.
This I wish I had a quote. I should have thought of this, but there's a voice one of the voice actors on The Simpsons who does a lot of extra voices sounds exactly like this person.
Let me get this straight. Something you can transplant?
Carol Marcus, whoever plays Carol Marcus.
B.B. Besh.
But I should have gotten the Simpson quote. I'll play that next week or something. But there's a character that sounds and she does a lot of like voices of various characters of like
non-main Simpsons characters. Ancillary characters or ancillary?
Ancillary.
What's your preferred pronunciation of ancillary or ancillary?
Ancillary.
Ancillary.
I prefer
it's a silly show.
I prefer ancillary, but I know some people prefer ancillary.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think it's ancillary.
All right.
I think it's
Let me get this straight. Something you can transplant?
I just love that
I'm
delivery.
silly.
I don't know why I like that delivery.
So this movie is really effective at conveying extra plot lines that undergird the movie, but that we don't see. So
You got Gerd?
when we're introduced to Carol Marcus and David Marcus, and they're already having this debate about having the involvement of Starfleet.
He's all feisty.
And they're framing it as certainly David Marcus is framing it as a constant suspicion of Starfleet and their motivations.
Be careful.
Because as the clip that Dan played earlier about, this could be perverted into a weapon thing is like the most obvious thing of this. Yeah. They're working on some crazy science that's like, wow, this is awesome, except it's also horrifying.
We are dealing with something that could be perverted into a dreadful weapon.
So David totally had it out for Kirk this whole time, even to the point where when he finally meets Kirk, he fucking attacks him. Yeah. I feel like that was a little over. He's attacking a Starfleet admiral.
He might not. Well, first of all, he's a scientist, so he doesn't give a shit about admiral or not admiral.
I mean,
and he doesn't even necessarily know that's Kirk. When he beams down.
Look, if some military officer comes up, like some high-ranking military officer comes up, I'm not in the military, but I'm not about to attack the motherfucker.
The context is important, though. They believe correctly that their science was just attacked and people were maybe murdered. They fled, right? They were scared enough to flee from these people.
Yeah, I mean,
you might be like last-ditch effort.
Okay, I'm a little confused about his motivation because I understand he's pissed off because he thinks they're taking all their shit, basically. Yeah. But I don't know why he thinks they're actually attacking. He thinks Kirk is responsible for the attack on their space station?
Yeah, first of all, yes. But
that's what Chekhov said.
He's proceeded from the wrong assumption, to call back to Spock.
Jim, you proceed from a false assumption.
Music is great in that scene.
Yeah, it is.
David is proceeding from the wrong assumption because he has an inbuilt prejudice against Starfleet to begin with.
Well, of course.
Chekhov has just told him, brainwashed Chekhov has just told him, we're coming to get your shit. And he's trying to pretend like it's all normal, but they know it's not. This is not how this shit's supposed to work. So that's why they're like, we're hiding because something's wrong.
Okay, up until this point, like I can understand why they're pissed. Still not enough to attack Kirk, though.
In my book, I'd be fighting that Canadian fella.
Look. If the military
bringing that Canadian to the ground.
If the military came and took my shit, I would be endlessly pissed, but I'm not about to fucking attack one of their admirals.
You're not working on the equivalent of an universal atom bomb. You might be more inclined to do whatever you can to prevent the wrong people from getting their hands on this technology.
I cannot and will not subscribe to your interpretation of this event.
Now, that's where he lacks the experience and understanding. Carol Marcus knows that obviously Kirk couldn't have anything to do with this. So that's partly probably why she's suspicious. She's like, something's clearly wrong here because this is nonsense.
That was a pretty smart plan on Khan's part where he was basically like, okay, just tell them that we're going to take their shit. And then Chekhov's like, well, they're going to check to make sure that we're actually that we're actually going to do it. And then Khan just nods. He's like, yeah, that's what I want because I want Kirk to come over. I'm trying to lure Kirk over here.
It's bait.
And when Carol Marcus contacts Kirk, she starts complaining about what's going on. Kirk has no idea what's going on. Yeah. And then he jams the signal so he can not know what's going on. So she's like pissed at Kirk being like, why are you taking our shit? And so she's going off this premise, right, that he's taking their shit. Kirk doesn't even know that there is a premise. Like, it's not that he thinks she's got the wrong idea. He doesn't even know what she's talking about.
He just knows they're working on some super scary stuff that he knows about.
He's on a training mission.
He loves her in some fashion or another. She's a person she cared about, and something's going on. Now, my guess is, like, when she reached out to him, again, I think the whole time she's like, now, this can't be real, because Kirk wouldn't do that. It didn't make any sense why Kirk would be making them do this.
But okay, so as we know, Kirk, when this all goes down, Kirk then has the nice conversation with Spock and all that stuff, and then Kirk takes control of the ship. is it a good thing that Kirk took control of the ship, or is it a bad thing that Kirk took control of the ship? Because what would have happened if Kirk had said, "Nah, Spock, you can take it," and Spock took it? Because Khan would have been pissed, because the whole reason he did this was to get in contact with Kirk. So if Spock ended
Contact.
Oh God,
sorry. I know.
Are we only randomly going to do this joke?
No, we're gonna do it every time.
No, we haven't been doing it every time. I mean,
It's true, we haven't been doing it.
I don't know which is worse, to do it every time or to like have it sneak out of the.
I haven't decided that yet either.
Right.
So again,
but-
for just real quick, for the audience who didn't listen to our 9 episodes of coverage of the Khan podcast, there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
And you know,
So,
we apologize.
Anyways, I'm saying the whole reason Khan did this is because he wanted to get in contact with Kirk. And so if Spock was the one who took the ship, then that would like sort of foil his plans, right?
Yeah, Kirk's still on the ship. He's still like
He
on
doesn't,
the
but
ship.
okay, Khan is taking a pretty big risk because Kirk being an admiral, like there's a good chance that as an admiral, there's a good chance that Kirk will be behind a desk somewhere. So Khan, it's less likely that Kirk is going to be on the ship.
I see what you're saying.
It's more likely that Kirk won't be on the ship than will be, considering that he's an admiral. So Khan is lucky that Kirk was on the
You're
ship.
an astute fellow.
You're right to say that Khan had no knowledge that Kirk was on any ship, let alone the Enterprise student ship.
He just assumed he was on the ship because last time he was.
Maybe, or he assumed correctly that he was going to attract Kirk's specific attention.
I'm just saying there were some things that might not have panned out just the way he wanted.
Now that's a fair point. On the other hand, I think both Kirk and Khan rely, and Spock, by the way, he tries to teach this to Saavik, rely on the ego factor. That's where they were both correct, is they both got pulled in a sense because of their ego.
Khan has read Moby Dick like probably countless times, and like by
He's
this
quoting
point,
it by heart.
Yeah, he's quoting it by heart. He's like, this is the guidebook to my life. So he is after Kirk.
So speaking of Moby Dick, when they went to the Ceti Alpha 5 inside the thing, there was on the bookshelf there was Dante's The Inferno, there was Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained, Moby Dick. There was Paradise Lost again, but by itself.
Shit.
There was the Bible.
Yeah.
There was King Lear.
That's all. Like you better get the hell out of
There was
King Lear, that relates to the Star Trek podcast.
There was some kind of statute regulations. There was a book with no label.
There was like the manual to a 1979 Volkswagen Rabbit.
That's the car you had.
Well, I had a 1982 Volkswagen Rabbit convertible.
Okay, I was
totally
wrong.
I said 79 because I didn't want to dox myself, Dan. And you've gone and you've helped me. You've made me dox myself.
Oh no!
Now everybody knows that I had a 1982 red Volkswagen Rabbit convertible.
In the 90s.
That shit was awesome.
Damn.
And also in that cargo thing, they had a table that looked like a checkerboard or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a checkers board.
But I don't
playing checkers.
Why wouldn't they play chess? That seems like it had more longevity than checkers.
I think
maybe augments don't need to play chess.
Yeah,
they just need to play checkers.
No, first of all, you can play chess on a checkers board.
You can't play chess.
All right.
He conned you.
He tasks me. He tasks me, and I shall have him.
I bet they got bored of chess. I bet what happened was they played chess for like 12 years.
That's what happens.
And we're catching them in the face where they're like, fuck that shit, man. Let's just play some fucking checkers, man.
There's only so many checker games you can play.
Yeah, but some people argue. I'm not saying I agree with this, but I've heard some people argue online that while it's less complex, checkers can be a more interesting game. I have no way. I'm not vouching for that argument, but
they probably played where you like
you
stacked them up like 5 and 6.
Oh yeah, you could get like Super Kings. That gets like this one can like go on like on all the checker the board pieces because you're only supposed to go diagonal, but if you go back and forth 3 times, you can just go anywhere you want.
They play some kind of cheater checker.
So if you got 3 checkers, you can like go fly like a rook does.
Exactly.
But if you got 4 of them, you can just hop anywhere on the board you want.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Connect 4 guy myself.
God's sakes.
Connect 4.
Yeah. All right. Was there any additional points or sub points to that overall point you were making?
What was the overall point? I was just talking about Kirk
remember.
and being on the ship and Khan making an assumption. I guess
Kirk and Blurk.
Speaking of Kirk, great entrance for Kirk, and I think that they had to do. This was one thing they had to do in this movie that Nicholas Meyer accomplished and all the production team, which was you had to have kind of equally awesome introductions of both Kirk and Khan. Mm-hmm. Now, Khan has the super famous introduction, which Dan was already alluding to, where he meets Chekhov and Terrell, and he's all like, Admiral Kirk.
He says Admiral like 3 times.
That's badass. Ricardo Montalban just fucking lays it out. It's
Buried alive.
even though
Buried alive.
conceptually the scene, that's a different scene, but conceptually,
I know, but it was more of him being fun.
Conceptually, the scene is a little confusing or doesn't make sense because so Terrell and Chekhov are in the cargo container, surrounded by all of Khan's people who are unmasked, and then Khan, for dramatic purposes only,
has his
kept his whole mask on. It was like, all right, here's what you're gonna do, and he didn't want Chekhov to recognize his voice, so he's kind of whispering to Joachim. He's all like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. All right, you guys all like kind of stand behind them, looking all crazy, and I'll slowly take my shit off, and then Chekhov is gonna freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
All right, on 1, 2, 3, go! And then like that, and then they did that. But anyway, that's an awesome introduction. But I loved they did the old simulator gag, which is
okay.
There was some meta reason
Bazoo.
for the Kobayashi Maru, and but like Kirk walking in, and the first things you hear is like, all right, shut it down, and then the doors open up and the lights behind him, and you're just like, oh, that's our old Kirk.
They got us.
So I want to comment on both those things.
Comment. I'm sorry. No, that's okay. Okay, that's 100% on me. We're gonna when we go to break, Dan is he's gonna give me a real tongue lashing.
And I wish to go on hurting you.
I understand that
I mean to deprive you of your life.
I will be punished because I have sinned. And I apologize, but it was still worth it. Okay,
Jim, what the hell is the matter with you?
Sorry, Dan. All right.
So the scene to show us how strong the augments are, Khan lifted Chekhov up by one arm by the handle on the front of his suit. Was that handle just put there so they could have Khan lift him up by it?
It was a ridiculous suit.
Like, why did he have a handle there?
It's a useful way to carry that suit around.
But it's like if you want to carry Chekhov like a suitcase, you can just like hold that handle.
But we talked about this during the when we discussed the Khan podcast. That
the Khan podcast.
Yeah, I mean, there's not even a joke there, Dan.
Kill him.
There's literally not even a joke. You just said the name of the podcast in a slightly funny way. That's amusing, but it's not a joke. But when we discussed the Khan,
you have something new to think about.
When we discussed the Khan podcast, the audio format was excellent. It was really interesting.
Egg salad.
They did some really interesting things with the audio format that you can't necessarily do in live action. It's really allows for expansive imagination fueled stuff. However, one deficiency that we commented on, our view was, I think we all agreed on this, was that sometimes they had difficulty conveying that these were quote unquote genetically engineered super people.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It was a little hard to do that in the audio format. They just have like some crunchy sounds or whatever. Yeah. Here we get to see really nice visual examples. What Dan mentioned was one. Another one is later in the movie when Joachim is covered in a piece of bulkhead and Khan just like
he just lifts
it up and just sort of like tosses
By the
it
way,
aside.
Joachim dies pretty unceremoniously, which makes sense in relation to the movie itself because we don't give a shit about Joachim. But like because we've listened to the Khan podcast, it's like, whoa, we need a better death.
And
of course, he couldn't get one.
For folks who haven't listened to it, this is Joachim and his story in the Khan podcast is one of the major reasons you might want to listen to that podcast. It's a really interesting backstory they give.
Totally.
They give this character who, by the way, is played by Judson Scott, who is uncredited.
He looks like a surfer dude.
Maybe he is, but he's uncredited in Star Trek 2. I'm not entirely sure why. I wasn't able to look up, or I tried looking up if there was a reason for him being uncredited, but he wasn't. But he was on TNG and Voyager. I forget what he played on Voyager, but on TNG he was in that episode that also had Merritt Buttrick, who played David Marcus. It was that planet. Remember that episode?
I think we talked about that.
I don't know if we did. It was that episode of TNG where the one planet supplies the drugs to the other planet. You know, remember, but they know that the other planet is addicted to the drugs. They don't need the drugs. They're just addicted to it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway.
At least we've mentioned it.
It's interesting in that the Space Seed, there's a character named Joaquin, and in this one, there's a character named Joaquin, which
Joaquin is in the podcast.
The father. I know. What I'm saying is, ignoring the podcast, what was originally created there was originally a Joaquin in Space Seed, and there was a Joachim in the movie. Now, the podcast did a great job of connecting the two and making it to be like, oh, Joaquin, Joachim. It makes sense. They're related now. But like, when they created the movie, did they just forget that there was a Joaquin, or was it just a coincidence that it was so similar in name? It's weird.
I've had the same question for many years before the Con podcast. It confused me, and I don't.
So far, no success.
And I don't remember if I ever looked up or was able to come across an explanation. It could be that there's an explanation out there.
It's too late.
If you all have a pre-Con podcast explanation for why Joachim and Joaquin are different characters in those things, you let us know. You can write us in at feedback@itsgotstartrek.com. All right, Dan, back to you. Don't worry, we'll take a break soon. Dan's like, I'm ready to take a break.
You also brought up the opening scene with the
simulator.
The simulator, and I mean that brings some very obvious questions to mind, like. Why did they like? Bones says something about like, or no, it was talking
about how it's all like fucked up the machinery.
Yeah,
yeah.
They said
this is pre-holodeck.
They destroyed the simulator room and you with it. And then Spock says the Kobayashi Maru scenario frequently wreaks havoc with students and equipment. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to. They could program it so it doesn't like fucking explode. Yeah. And if you're involved in the scenario, you have to deal with pyrotechnics and you have to pretend to get killed and you have to.
Of course, like I actually got kind of fucked up that day.
Yeah, you're right. You could because you got. I mean, people are jumping around. I'm sure they had to have stunt doubles in the movie actually play those parts. Yeah. So you got but there's no stunt doubles in canon, right? They're just them.
Not, yeah.
And I mean, Kirk is the one talking about like galloping through. He says that thing about
galloping around the cosmos is a game for the young, Doctor.
So they're admitting they're not exactly young, and meanwhile they're just like hopping around this thing just for the sake of a training mission. They're blowing up equipment for the sake of the training mission. Why don't they just not do that? Because first of all, you can kind of tell something is not a normal mission by the stately way Spock is kind of observing and walking around at the beginning.
Yes.
It's kind of neat to see these two Vulcans, and Spock is very obviously the superior.
Very professorial.
Yeah, and he does a good job.
Which makes sense, of course, given the context.
But it really does, it does a good job expressing that. So it's like he's already just kind of like looking over, surveying the scene, killing all sense of,
tension?
It just takes you out of it a little bit.
Takes you out of it a little bit.
Yeah,
didn't me, but I can appreciate it.
It didn't take me out of it. What I'm saying is, if I were in the simulator, if I was Saavik, like you have all these realistic explosions going on around you, pretending it's real, but then you have this person like monitoring the situation like a professor. Like if I were in the simulator, that would take it out of it a little bit for me. It's like, anyways, it doesn't matter. Why did they have to do all that? Just it's all for the sake of the movie, obviously. Yeah. But it's funny that they even reference it afterwards, because like when Bones is like,
"What about my performance?"
Yeah, he's so proud of himself when he says
and then Kirk is all like, "I'm not a theater critic."
Yeah, he's like, "Fuck you."
Bones is already in a bad mood. He's trying to cheer Kirk up, and we see him continue this.
You mean Kirk's already in a bad mood?
Oh yeah, sorry. Kirk is in a bad mood, which is making Bones get in a bad mood. But I did mean Kirk, but it leads into that.
But it's just hilarious that they bother with all of that stuff, and they're self-referential about it too. Just to be, it's almost as if they're self-referencing it to let the audience know. It's like, yeah, we know it's silly that we're doing this.
Well, and it's also look, in TAS they already had the quote unquote recreation room that was basically a holodeck.
They were exploring it in Strange New Worlds, but that was created later.
Sure. Later in TNG, we see the holodeck in 86, 87. The holodeck is introduced and is like this amazing thing, but then of course becomes a super normal thing. So yeah, they're still using a training simulator, not a holodeck yet at this point. Later on, we would see that you could have a bad training simulator, a bad holodeck experience, and everyone would laugh at you, but the machines didn't need to be broken for it.
Yeah, I mean, all I can think is that this is the final test of all time, and it's worth blowing things up. But even that, I don't buy.
They're just having fun.
They're just having fun.
They like fixing shit.
I mean, it's not something.
Shit.
It doesn't actually. It's one of those things that doesn't actually make me mad at the movie because it's fun to watch, and so I forgive it. But it's so absurd, really.
Yeah. But and I know we got to go to break, but
Where would I stay?
just the whole Kobayashi Maru thing by itself is, of course, now almost a cliche in Star Trek after this, as well as just life generally. But think about it. This is such a great encapsulation of an idea of a quote unquote no-win scenario and the value that might have to somebody who's going to be in charge of people's lives. How do they respond to that?
And Kirk says to her, he goes, don't you, he's like, this, he's like, what does he say? He says something to her about a no-win scenario.
No-win scenario and about...
he just doesn't accept it. He's just like...
He
says a no-win situation is a possibility every commander may face. Has that never occurred to you? No, sir, it's not. First of all, it's never occurred to her that could happen, which is... It's like, it's got to occur to everybody. Yeah. And then he says, how we deal with death is at least as important as how we deal with life, wouldn't you say? And she's like, I didn't think about that either. Yeah. I would have thought that anyone would have thought of that at some point. But the funny part of him saying a no-win situation is a possibility every commander may face... Yeah. He's teaching her, but then later on he's like, I don't believe in a no-win scenario. Right? So it's kind of hilarious. That
it is a do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, but
kind of situation.
Classic.
And by the way, it doesn't bother me that she didn't think of those. She's young. She's a go-getter. I can buy into somebody being like the all-A student who really doesn't imagine a scenario where there's not at least an opportunity to win.
I mean,
of course, Dan, I don't disagree with you that a truly wise person would understand that, like Picard says, you can do everything right and still lose. That's an important thing to know.
Incidentally, when Kirk's solution...
The Enterprise incident.
And the Kirk solution to the Kobayashi Maru, David was right.
He cheated.
Yeah.
Like, he cheated.
Yeah, he
and it's hilarious he got a commendation. Yeah. There's no other way to word it. He cheated.
Yeah. He
got a commendation for cheating.
That's how you win in the military.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Oh, when we come back...
He's also like a white guy. Don't you remember that whole South Park? That whole South Park where Eric Cartman is explaining to the inner city kids that you should be like white people. You should cheat. That's how you get ahead. You create a system that advantages you.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario. I don't like to lose. I don't like to lose.
He eats the apple at the end.
I don't like to lose.
We're gonna talk. Let's take a break. We're gonna talk about that when we get back.
We also got to talk about some military stuff.
Yeah. Well, all right. So we're gonna take a break, and then we'll talk about that awesome scene with Kirk, and we're gonna do
that awesome scene with Kirk.
And where the hell have I heard that before? All right. We will be right back.
Yeah. Full stop. Full stop, sir.
And we're back.
Sir, the mains are back online.
Come in, please. This is Reliant calling Regular 1. Approaching neutral zone.
Go, Zulu!
Oh, yeah.
I like that little collection.
Full power! Damn you!
Very curated.
Yes.
Curated. All right.
A couple of things I wanted to quick go over.
Okay.
First, there was one of those things... 5 years, more like 5. You know which part I'm talking about?
No, remind me. I know that this is a bugaboo of yours. This is one of many.
What was he referring?
Dan's many bugaboos.
What was Bones referring to when they were talking about the creation myth?
Oh yes, he was talking about how, according to legend, Earth was made in 6 days. Well, watch out! Here comes Genesis. You can do it in 6 hours.
You can't do this on Nintendo.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well done.
Genesis done.
16-bit arcade graphics.
Now.
You can't do this on Nintendo.
And it was 6 days. He actually said,
shocking how horrifying the I don't know what it is. The frequency of that sound clip is amazingly
commercials in the 90s.
Oh yes. To think
it's like a bunch of nails coming.
They could
no
use
bass.
They could use that as torture.
Yeah.
And we were just being tortured at will on the television sets back in the day.
Yeah, and we just took
Genesis does what Nintendo don't.
And by the way, it was 6 minutes, not 6 hours, but that's not
6 minutes. Sorry,
neither
6
here nor
minutes.
there. I also wanted to briefly mention because the first break we went out on
Company dismissed.
And that was from that whole very Jesse actually brought it up. I think we were off the podcast by that point, but Jesse brought it up that it was like very military, and that whole scene was incredibly military because there was that guy. Oh, poor Preston. Preston is the one who got. He's the one who got fried, right?
He got fried.
He's all like,
yes, sir.
You know, he's doing like it sounds
the
like
word given, sir.
Yeah, he's yeah, he goes.
It's the word given, Admiral.
No, that is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Yeah. Oh, this is one.
Midshipman First Class, Peter Preston, engineer's mate. Sir!
It just reminded me of a scene out of Full Metal Jacket or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, very much so. And Nicholas Meyer, one of the things he did was to really stress the military aspect. It was something that Gene Roddenberry, by all accounts, did not enjoy.
Right.
Everybody had silly uniforms.
But that a lot of other people enjoyed. Also, Nicholas Meyer had all the signs all over the place, like beware or watch out or authorized personnel only or no smoking, which was something that really pissed off Roddenberry because Roddenberry said nobody's going to be smoking in the future.
Come on.
Meyer took the perspective, the future is still going to have people are not going to necessarily going to be like 100% perfect, right?
Yeah.
I'll say this for him, he's consistent.
All right.
Alert. Klingon torpedoes activated. Alert.
Alert.
Battle stations, activate shields.
We will be continuing our discussion, but first.
Oh,
but first.
Can we not forget to talk about the fucking retina scene?
We'll talk about the retina scene if you insist.
Yes.
I'm happy to talk about
There's
the
not
retina
a lot
scene.
to say other than it was
scene.
fucking weird and freaky.
I'm kind of interested into why you want to talk about it. That's awesome. But first, we have to do this week's entry of WTHHIHTB, a.k.a. Where the Hell Have I Heard That Before?
Aye, Captain.
This is a brand new game that we've been playing. It's not cribbed from any other podcast or game show. Don't worry about that. And what it is we play a clip from somewhere in the Star Trek universe, in the franchise, a clip from something Star Trek. And then the audience can write in and let us know their guesses as to what that clip is from, which character said it, which episode or movie, etc. And then we'll comment on that. We'll say your name. And that's what's going to happen.
You boys have to be clear on this.
We'll tell you that you're wrong.
Trying to be as clear as possible. So first, I'm going to play last week's clip, and then we'll talk about who, if anybody, won the contest. All right.
Nobody won.
Here we go. This is the clip from last week. Now, I picked that clip because previous clips apparently were too difficult. People were having trouble. The first clip was really difficult, and I'll grant you that. And I tried to make it easier. So then the second week we did this is the 6th week we're doing this game, okay? And the second week I made it a little easier. Last week I was like, okay, everyone's got to get this because this is obvious. I'll play it one more time. Okay. Okay. Apparently not as obvious as I thought. We did get the right answers.
I don't get it.
We did get multiple people who got the right answers. But first, Dan, Jesse, do either of you want to offer a guess? No. I don't tell them. I don't fill these fellas in. Last week, Dan seemed to think it was so obvious. He seemed to really think he knew what it was. So Dan, do you know what this is from?
It's Cisco on the beach. And right?
No,
it's Cisco on the beach.
No,
yeah.
I was really curious if you.
Oh my god, this is the second week I've been like so positively sure that I've been wrong. No, wasn't it?
I totally know.
What is on the beach with Jennifer?
You're thinking an emissary when he's on the beach.
Yeah,
with
emissary,
and he's delivering the lemonades, and it's the sand is hot,
Jennifer.
And he's all like, but it's not that. It's not that. I was curious. I was really curious. No, it's all right. No,
it's because last week I was so positive I knew what it was too, and I was completely wrong.
That is the glory of WTHHIHTB.
I can see him.
AKA, where the hell have I heard that before?
I can see him doing it. Is Cisco.
It is Cisco. And lots of people got that right. Lots of people wrote in and said it was Cisco. So plenty of people knew it was Cisco. I think that was fairly easy to get. Harry Pothead 4 2024, for example, on YouTube, he got that it was Cisco, but he thought it was from Dramatis Personae, which was season 1 episode of Deep Space Nine. I think it's the 18th episode. You thought it was from Emissary, and I totally understand why I wish I had a clip of that because I totally understand why you think that is when the sand is all hot.
I'm obviously wrong, but I have a vivid memory of the correct episode. I just don't know what it is. I don't know if you could have a memory something that you don't remember, but it's in it. But it's in my brain. Dude. Like I can see him doing it. I can see. I just have him doing it in front of the beach.
Well, here's the thing. I thought this would be easy in part because it's a popular episode. Somewhat popular. It's a well-known episode of Deep Space Nine. I also thought it might be easy for people to get because it's from a GIF meme that is very common on Star Trek social media.
His face is not his face is making almost no expression. Then out of nowhere he just explodes in a split second laughter.
Yes, and that's exactly the scene, except it's not from Emissary. It is from our man Bashir.
When he's the evil guy.
When he's playing Dr. Noah.
Oh, damn,
right.
dude.
Yeah.
It's
he's going to blow the place up by he's going to make the volcanoes, and then the volcanoes are going to go up.
All the smart people are going to live on Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And Bashir is saying, yeah, I agree with you. And that's when he's like, ha! He does that. We did have a correct answer from Kara, aka Zandara.
All right.
On Blue Sky, who correctly identified this as Dr. Noah in Our Man Bashir.
All right.
Thank you, Kara. Longtime listener.
Is superior.
I wish we had prizes. At some point, we might have prizes.
Well done, Commander.
But
We could do the mugs or the t-shirts.
you did a great job. She wrote in almost immediately.
Wow.
So that's why
I'm delighted.
a few other folks wrote in, but Kara gets the first.
This is Kara right now.
Can I cook or can't I?
That's Kara right now.
For real. All right. Now, all that we have left to do is play the sound clip for next week. Damn. All right. So
I'll say that I know exactly what it is again and get it wrong for the third time.
you all will have an opportunity to guess. What you do is after you've listened to this podcast, write into feedback@isgotstartrek.com or direct message us on one of the social medias. We're everywhere, but especially, Blue Sky's a good one, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. If you want to post publicly, fine, but then you might be giving the answer away to other people. So that's why a DM or an email at feedback@discussstartrek.com would be good. So
Self-expression doesn't seem to be one of your problems.
social media, by the way, is @It'sGotStarTrek on pretty much all the services.
You lie!
Blue Sky, etc. Okay.
You lied.
I'll play this clip twice. So here's the first time. Here you go.
Oh no! It's another Enterprise!
Okay, I know for sure what this is. I do for real this time. I know this one. I'm not even kidding.
Next week, Dan's going to be like, all right, it's season 5 of Star Trek Voyager.
I don't like to lose.
All right, I'm going to play that one more time for the folks at home, and then send in your guesses.
Oh no! It's another Enterprise!
I am understandably curious.
By the way, this game has become increasingly stressful for me when I'm trying to select a sound. So I'm still
Tortured those people.
I'm still happy to do that. I enjoy hunting around the entire Star Trek franchise to pick a sound. But by the way, if you want to suggest something,
You okay, Jim?
shoot us a line. I even was saying maybe the previous winner, maybe Kara or whoever, send us your suggestion of what the sound should be. I think that'd be fun. I'm happy to take suggestions. If there's a sound clip, you can either send the sound clip or send the timestamps for the sound clip. That'd be great too.
We'll take it, baby.
You may indulge yourself.
I'm really enjoying this aspect. I don't know how much the audience is enjoying it, but I'm enjoying.
Best guess, Mr. Sulu.
Where the hell have I heard that before?
I'm enjoying it too.
Okay, now back to our discussion.
Okay, we're gonna discuss the show because that's what we're doing.
It's time to talk about
the show.
Except this time it's not a show, it's a movie. It's a semantic difference that may only be important in English. I don't know if it is relevant in other languages.
The Anglosphere.
Before we talk about the retina scene, so Kirk has a retinax allergy.
Yeah. He's allergic to Retinax 5.
And so Bones got him like some glasses.
So he could see better.
Some Romulan
And he was like, what the fuck are these things?
Yeah.
But then is he the only one in the universe with Retinax allergy? Because how do they normally fix someone like him?
Apparently, the Captain Ake of the Starfleet Academy, the Chancellor Ake, I should say, also wears glasses. So she may have a retinax.
So I'm just saying, like, he acted like he didn't understand what these things were. And I was like, do they not have glasses in the future?
I think
Probably not.
My understanding is what we're intended to understand is that glasses are rare. Now, you could argue whether that makes sense in the context of whatever.
That must be a very rare allergy then.
But forget about the in-universe sci-fi canon, whatever. thematically, I really enjoyed The Gift of Glasses. The Gift of Glasses. McCoy intends the gift to. This is classic, by the way. We've probably all been in this scenario where McCoy is like, I'm giving this person something that's really going to improve their life,
right?
Not accounting for the fact that that person might be like, wait a second, like you're reminding me that I'm dysfunctional in some way.
You okay, Jim?
Both things are valid, right? McCoy is doing the right thing. He is helping his friend. But I also understand Kirk's view of being kind of a little bit put off initially, even though luckily he overcomes that.
I would like to get back to that if we want to go over any of my lists.
Oh yes, we do want to.
But real quick, I want to talk about the retina scan scene because it seemed like really
it weirded you out.
It weirded me out because it suddenly felt like an early 80s, late 70s sci-fi B movie at that point. Yeah. So it begins with the computer going, identify for retina scan. He goes,
identify for retina scan.
He goes, Kirk, Admiral James T. So other than the computer voice, so far pretty normal. But then the cut it makes to his face, for some reason, is super weird.
It's framed oddly.
It's framed because his face is
very
making
static and symmetrical.
Because first of all, it's on the side. It's like it's looking at him from a normal angle at first, and he's got his face one way, and his face is kind of pointed down. He's talking, but then it just cuts straight to him looking at breaking the fourth wall essentially, or looking at the screen,
straight down the barrel of the camera,
and
which you're not supposed to do.
And his face is no longer in the position it was before. It jumps from being in a casual conversation straight to his face being forward.
Like retina scan.
And there was motion in between that we never got to see, and so that was very jarring.
I agree.
So it's like the sound and the sounds the retina scan was made mixed with that abrupt nature of that tonal shift between. It sounded like something as simple as ordering a cup of coffee. It's like retina scan to these weird noises and blinking lights and all this crazy shit. And like that mugshot of his face, he was still kind of moving his lips to finish saying his name. And then it was like straight looking perfectly forward at him of his eyes and head. And then it does the eyeball graphics. The eyeball graphics start. And then there's all this text on the screen like arterial match, venal match, positive identification.
And it takes a while.
Yeah, and it just I don't know, just something about the whole thing was really fucking out of phase with the rest of the movie.
It was a weird scene, and this is, by the way, and this is not the first time I felt this for this specific scene in the movie, which is it's a scene that when you watch it in '82, or even when I'm watching it in the late '80s, early '90s. Throughout the mid 90s, you're watching that scene and you're like, whoa, this is some future tech. Yeah. And then like, we're now at 2025, 2026. So now like the retinal scan thing has come and gone as an actual thing in real life. For a while, like that was a thing. You could do retinal scans and that was, but now there's even better security that doesn't require you sticking your eyeball up to some kind of machine. So now it seems antiquated. And of course, this happens a lot in Star Trek where something that seemed futuristic way back when, we've already surpassed and don't think of it as futuristic anymore.
But one of the things I love about sort of this antiquated sci-fi stuff of the early 80s, I love computer graphics in the early 80s movies. All those wireframes and shit.
And the whole Genesis device proposal thing was one of the most groundbreaking Industrial Light and Magic things.
It was crazy.
Early CGI.
And it looks really good.
It still looks good.
Still looks good. And like even just simple vector graphics looking like looking three-dimensional as it's spinning around. And wait, what was it? What device was it called?
The Genesis device?
You can't do this on Nintendo.
Why am I so fucking stupid? I really don't understand. I mean, I'm glad that happened. I'm just
Bilana's on it.
I don't even feel bad about myself. I'm sort of amazed. I'm amazed that Dan's so convincing. Dan's just like, what was it called? I'm like, are you fucking stupid, Dan? This is the fucking Genesis device.
You can't do this on Nintendo.
Yes, and then when it went from the spinning dots to like the crazy sort of like graphics of how it takes over the planet and does the shit. And then it's one of the reasons I love the Star Wars trench battle game at Chuck E. Cheese's. That you remember that video game?
Yeah,
because there's all the wireframes. And early in the movie too, they had like other wireframe shit going on describing other things. I just love those graphics. I know they're totally out of date, but they just it makes me feel special, a little bit oogie, but in a good way.
Totally, dude.
Well, I don't know which version y'all watched.
I watched the one that was 1 hour 53 minutes, which is not the director's cut.
I watched the director's cut because that was the one I had in 4K. which was great to watch. I do prefer the
Give me to watch.
I prefer the regular cut. There are some additional scenes or extended scenes in the director's cut. A lot of it it doesn't flow quite as well. There are a couple things that are interesting, and one of them is that in the director's cut, as we all know, Preston is Scotty's nephew. It's explicit. Scotty states that he's his nephew. So Scotty's like more invested. I actually kind of
like it better without him being.
Exactly. With him being so emotional because he's just a good crew member, a good cadet.
Yeah.
But there was one scene in the director's cut, or one extension to a scene that I kind of liked that I missed. That would be nice in the regular cut, which is when McCoy and Spock are viewing this. Kirk is showing them the Genesis proposal that we were just talking about. After it, they have the discussion, and McCoy is all upset. But McCoy goes on this little riff where, like, cause Spock is saying, like, yeah, if it's in the wrong hands, that's bad news. And McCoy's like, and this is not in the theatrical cut. McCoy is like, who's the right hands? Can you tell me, Spock, who is the right hands to control this technology? And that's when Spock is all like, hey, McCoy, you gotta chill out. You gotta learn to be a chill motherfucker.
You gotta learn to be a chill motherfucker.
That's what he said, right? I'm not looking at the script, but I think I got it pretty good. I'm trying to give Dan time to
chill the fuck out, McCoy.
Scroll through this list where Spock is like,
You must learn to govern your passions.
There you go.
They will be your undoing.
What a fucked up thing to say.
You green-blooded inhuman.
Bridge to Admiral Kirk.
It wouldn't be a Star Trek without bickering between Bones and Spock, right? Like the classic, like Spock calmly talks about everything dying, and then Bones is mad because Spock isn't sufficiently sad or upset about it.
Like, and then I'm not talking about the fucking morals. I'm just like talking about the thing.
Right, and Bones yells at Spock, and Spock's like, calm down, getting mad doesn't help anyone. Then Bones calls Spock a name, some kind of racist name, referring to the color of his blood. And then Spock like responds
Bones
with
is famously racist.
And then Spock responds with this like reproachful yet dignified glare, kind of thing. Happens in every fucking thing. There's got to be some fan fiction about like a Bones and Spock love story out there. Where they're like,
a lot of the slash fiction, of course, is Spurk or Spork or whatever you want to call it. Spurk, I think, is the comment, but Spock and Kirk. They are the ones that started really the idea of fan fiction, slash fiction, particularly homoerotic.
I would rather
fiction between characters, but I'd be more into Bones and Spock
because they'd
myself.
love each other, but they'd always be fighting.
It's less cliched than the Kirk Spock.
I wanted to go over these lists,
and as Dax noted, Bones has the hands of a surgeon, which implies that he fingers well.
Yeah,
I don't like.
Probably.
I mean, I know it's a crude term.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else that would mean.
But Dax was saying Bones is a good. He fingers well.
Yeah.
All right.
He absolutely does.
Dan seems uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So they're they fingers well.
He's like, I'm not uncomfortable, so I'm gonna say it too.
Oh, by the way, Scotty had like almost no role in this movie.
Diminished in some sense.
He had a smaller role than Kirstie Alley, who was introduced in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He had, so it's kind of interesting how we didn't see. Well, I'll go over it in this bitter Kirk list.
Okay, well, let's do the bitter Kirk list.
So number one, after the training mission with the new folks, Bones says, "Admiral, wouldn't it be easier to just put an experienced crew back on the ship?" And then Kirk starts by saying, "Galloping about the cosmos is a game for the young, Doctor."
Yeah.
So
introducing the theme of aging.
Yeah, so Kirk's already grumpy, and then Uhura's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Then the next, the number two.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, right.
What a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, so he's just making this very cynical sort of statement. Like you can tell from the start, he's kind of grumpy. Then there's the whole scene with Bones.
Brilliant scene, by the way.
Yeah,
it goes back to what Jesse was saying about the letting the scene breathe. You can hear the clock ticking at one point.
You can.
Like the grandfather clock, as these two old friends are just sitting there with the bitterness floating in the air beside them.
And this room was crazy. It was like curved by the fireplace. It was
awesome.
It was pretty cool.
In San Francisco, looking out over the bay. But by the way, I've been reading Star Trek: The Lost Years. I read that 25, 30 years ago. It's been fun reading it again. I'm not a fan of some parts of it, but they talk about Kirk getting this apartment, and it's a cool part of that book. So if you want to read a book, get the Star Trek: The Lost Years.
To Kirk's credit, Bones does sort of like talk to Kirk in an aggressive manner. So Kirk is
Bones is a good
warranted.
friend. I mean,
Yeah.
both Bones and Spock are great friends, but
Yeah.
Bones is that good friend who's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
You used to be cool. Now you're like an asshole.
So this is back at the training mission. Bones asks Kirk, he goes,
What about my performance?
which we mentioned earlier, but Kirk's response is like, I'm not a drama critic. So this is like all bitter, sort of, kind of like,
I'm not playing a game.
And Bones even kind of looked like, well, what the fuck,
Yeah. And Bones, by the way, the implication is that Bones shows up uninvited to Kirk's house. It's not like Kirk was waiting for him. Kirk was like, who the fuck is at the door? And he's like, oh, I guess it's fucking Bones.
So right, so
he's wearing some kind of like crazy like race car outfit or something, like whatever that jacket is. It's like some
Bones?
Yeah, it's like some like super. Is that just DeForest Kelly's like regular?
I think so,
outfit?
because DeForest Kelly like was an awesome dresser. He dressed like a fucking maniac. He was pretty cool.
He would be awesome. He played Mr. Furley on Three's Company.
Now that's a hilarious alternate universe.
Yeah. So B, Kirk doesn't thank Bones for the glasses, which we talked about. Kirk doesn't like the aging things, but still,
doesn't want to be reminded.
But it's still rude. It's still a rude thing to do. Bones is like, you can say thank you. And he's like, oh, whatever, thank you.
He's got Romulan ale.
And he's got what?
Romulan ale.
Bones is basically like, what's going on? What's wrong with you, man? He actually says, what the hell is wrong with you? He goes,
Damn it, Jim, what the hell's the matter with you?
But then Kirk gets all pissy. He's like, don't lecture me. He's like, I don't want to hear your lectures.
I don't be lectured.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you treating your birthday like a funeral?
Yeah, and then later Bones, I got the feeling, was trying to be kind of chummy with Kirk. When they were talking about when he found out that Carol Marcus wasn't there, and then Bones goes, it never rains but pours. Yeah. It seemed like he was trying to connect with Kirk, be like, I feel you, buddy. But then Kirk is like, as a physician, you of all people should appreciate the danger of reopening old wounds. Mm-hmm. And as Kirk walks away, it's the saddest I've ever seen Bones when he says sorry. Yeah. Like he seems actually like hurt there.
I agree 100% that he wants to help Kirk, and he this is the classic scenario: friends going through some shit, and the other friends are like trying to help, but they haven't yet hit on what's going to help the friend, because they didn't realize what's going to help the friend is if some fucking maniac tries to murder them.
Yeah,
that's what the friend needs. The friend needs to be like, oh, I need to encounter some shit from my past.
Well, yeah. Deal with your shit. Have a common enemy. He's number 3. He's kind of dickish to Scotty. When he goes on the military scene, Scotty says he's been sick, and Kirk accuses him of being hungover, basically. Yeah. And Scotty's just looking at him like, oh. And then when Scotty says everything is in order, Kirk goes, that'll be a pleasant surprise. Which I know maybe Kirk was being fun, but it kind of goes along with the theme of him being kind of cynical about shit. So, surprise, things are going to finally work right. And then. With Spock, Kirk says, we got a problem. Something may be wrong with Regula 1. We've been ordered to investigate. Spock says, if memory serves, Regula 1 is a scientific research laboratory. Kirk says, I told Starfleet all we had was a boatload of children, but we're the only ship in the quadrant. And then later he's all talking about he doesn't think how these children know how to steer. Yeah. So once again, you could have think of that as him being fun, but I think in the theme of things, it just seems like this whole movie, he's just kind of down on everything.
I also think that's him conveying nervousness about both the youth of these cadets versus his age, right? That's one thing that's accentuated, right? He keeps saying these are people he used to just command, but now he feels very separated from them because of his age, right? So that's part of it. And the other part of it is there's I don't know if lack of confidence is the right way to put it, but because everyone, like Spock and McCoy, everyone's telling him that he should be in fucking command of a ship, and he's the one being like, "No, I've done what I'm supposed to do. You're supposed to be at a certain rank for a while, and then you're supposed to rank up, and that's what I did. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do." Right. And Kirk is trying to convince himself. Yeah. And he's not being convincing because he can't convince himself because they're right.
Yeah. And even Spock, who's like, you'd think the logical thing would be to move up in rank. Spock's like, no, this is what your calling is, man.
It's your first best destiny, which, by the way, is another great book, Best Destiny, which is about Kirk in his youth, if I recall correctly. It's been a long time since I've read that book.
I like when Saavik is going to leave the dock and Kirk's super nervous about it.
That's great.
Bones is like,
would you like a tranquilizer?
And he just shakes his head like,
wonderful scene.
It kind of reminds me of the scene in Billy Madison when the disgusting blob goes, no.
I I was going to say that this scene is referenced in a callback in Star Trek VI, again, also directed by Nicholas Meyer, when Kirk, I think, has, what's her name from Sex and the City, Kim Cattrall, who was going to be the Savick character, but it wasn't the Savick character. In the end, they created a new character. Same kind of deal. Was like, all right, I'm going to have your person, do this.
Speaking of callbacks, they had the callback of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and the one. Yeah. When did we first hear the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few?
Movie.
This movie was the first one. Okay.
And then in Star Trek 3, there's a gag on that where Spock is basically all like, "Why did you save me?" And Kirk is like, "Because the needs of the one outweigh the needs of the many."
Right, yeah.
And Spock is all like, "That doesn't make any sense." And Kirk is like, "Welcome to the new world."
What?
Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
Welcome to Earth.
Do we want to? Can I talk briefly about emotional Savick? I felt like she was a very emotional Vulcan.
Yeah, sure. Talk about.
Okay, so first of all, she goes data at the beginning. She's like, data on the Kobayashi Maru. Computer voice says subject vessel is third class neutronic fuel carrier, crew of 81, 300 passengers, and then she goes, damn.
There's a fuel carrier. Why do we have all these passengers?
So why is she's going damn? Like she's upset. Vulcans don't say damn.
She was supposed to be half Romulan.
Exactly.
But they didn't like.
That they didn't play that out.
it,
That's
yeah.
what. And so she was supposed to be. Was she supposed to like? Because Kim
Definitely got a case of the Smosters.
Yeah. Was she supposed to be the one to betray later?
So here's the thing. Not in this movie. In this movie, originally as scripted, and I think even through most of the filming of the movie, the intention was for Savick to be a half Vulcan, half Romulan.
And it makes sense because they made a lot of points to make her seem emotional in this movie.
Yes, I agree. And the changes in the hairstyle, and then it shifted to her. I mean, she in both scenarios, she is Spock's. What do you call it?
Protege?
Protege, yeah. That's better than mentee. Protege. And it was going to be this extra flavor. I lament that they didn't do that.
But she wanted more money.
Well, no.
I think I think Kirstie Alley wanted more money. That's why she didn't come back.
No. I'm not talking about coming back. I'm talking about why it wasn't made explicit in this movie why she was half Romulan.
Was she? So it wasn't necessarily that she was going to do anything any betrayal.
In this movie, there would be no betrayal.
No, not this movie, but in a later movie.
So here's the deal. Kirstie Alley joined Cheers, became a famous and also busy actress. It was not just about the money; it was also about the schedule. Mm-hmm. So in Star Trek 3 and 4, she was replaced, right, by
Kim Cattrall.
No. Kim Cattrall was a different character.
Oh no, she was
Star
right.
Trek
Yeah.
6.
She's replaced. You're right. Yeah, someone else.
But the character
I'm
of
just
Savick
wondering
was
I'm just wondering if they changed Savick's path because of Kirstie Alley didn't.
I don't think so because originally the whole Romulan business was supposed to be explicit in Star Trek 2 to make a point about similar to what they did with having Worf join TNG and having Chekhov join TOS, the idea of previous enemies being brought into the fold, peace being made, etc. That they abandoned that storyline, and I probably made sense in the end in terms of pacing and all that other stuff. However, you can sense how there would have been something interesting there.
I like when she says this.
I'm aware of my responsibilities, mister.
It sounds like she's being sassy, but that she's not. She's because that's just what they say. I understand them calling they say sir to women, but they call her Mr. Savick. Yeah. That seems a little odd to me.
That was because this is 1982. And there were a number of people who...
This is 1982.
They were in favor... on the one hand, they were in favor of incorporating women into the military. This increasingly so in that period, and then, of course, in subsequent periods. But I think they had still not yet decided the actual... The implications of what that would mean to things like as basic as, do you say sir or ma'am? My understanding now is that you do refer to superior officers
like when
or female as ma'am.
Like when the TNG dudes were the dress, the skirts,
scants. Yeah, I love that.
I think that was just because they ran out of
They
ran out of
they weren't
wardrobe.
They weren't trying to be awesome. They just ran out of wardrobe, but it ended up being awesome.
Yeah,
I would totally wear a scant.
But when she says,
"I'm aware of my responsibilities, mister,"
doesn't it sound like she's being sassy, like Mister?
Maybe I'm a little bit sassy.
Mister, but she was being pro. Okay, she's stressed how stressed she gets about the Kobayashi Maru being unbeatable. Like she obsesses about this the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like you'd think she would be able to move on.
Well, that's the classic all A student that's mad that they didn't ace
Right,
the test, not understanding that you're not supposed to ace the test.
Right,
the
but-
lesson is, what do you do when you don't ace the test?
But I think Vulcan would have curbed that a little bit more. Full Vulcan.
Maybe.
And like how she's super curious about how Kirk beat it. It just seems like a Vulcan would like not be quite. This is why I'm saying it. This stuff lends to her being half Romulan, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you believe her to be half Romulan, this movie not only makes the same amount of sense, it actually makes even more sense.
And then what you mentioned already, her wearing her hair differently in the elevator.
Yeah.
And then when she talks to Kirk, he even says self-expression doesn't seem to be one of your problems. So she's a very self-expressive Vulcan. I mean, that once again, that would lend to being sort of like part Romulan.
She wasn't shy about going right up to him and saying, "Hey, Admiral Kirk, I don't know you from fucking Adam, but tell me the deal."
It was funny that Kirk comments on her hair, and then when Bone comments on it, he's like,
Did she
"I
do something
noticed."
to her hair?
He's like, "I hadn't noticed." And then Bones talks about like the Romulan era.
That shit was funny. I mean, that's an important thing to note is that Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, is funny. Right? It's got that balance. I think when Star Trek works the best, it's dealing with some heavy, weighty topics and it's taking them seriously, but that it has that natural humor that works, and that's an example of that.
Now, once again, Patrick, based on what you've saying, you might just think of it as an eager student. To me, this seems like an emotional response. When Sulu says, "Reliant in our section, this quadrant, sir," and slowing, and Savick goes, "Sir, may I quote General Order 12 on the approach of any vessel when communication have not been..." And then Spock says, "Lieutenant, the Admiral is well aware of the regulations." Well, first of all, I want to know what that General Order was.
Presumably is to raise your fucking shields and be like, what the fuck is going on with that crazy ass ship?
But I only put it there because it seems like she's trying to impress people, is what it seems like. She seems like
she's a bit of a tryhard.
Yeah, she's a little brown nosing a little bit.
But that could be Vulcan or Romulan. I'd buy that. I'd buy that from both.
I still think that would be more Romulan. Just this need to impress, this need to like to show that you're like all that, you know.
Vulcans do that shit too.
No, I don't know.
Some Vulcans.
I don't know. To me, it just seems to lend more credence to her being Romulan. Just a couple more. Savick says, "Begging the Admiral's pardon, General Order 15, no flag officer shall beam into a hazardous area without
armed escort."
There's no such regulation.
And then he's like, "Oh, all right, join the party." She lied because she wanted to be a part of the group.
This is a question.
I'm not saying she's not Vulcan because she lied and Vulcans don't lie. I'm not trying to pull that card out. But what I'm saying is she's really eager to be a part of the thing. She's too eager.
Here's the thing though. This is a question I've had since my youth. And I've never had it answered. To this day, I've not had it answered. Maybe I can use the leverage of a semi-popular Star Trek podcast to get an answer to this. So write in at feedback@iscastartrek.com if you have an answer or plausible theory about this. Because I've never understood in that exchange if she's just making shit up and Kirk is calling her on it, or if the regulation she's citing is a regulation and Kirk just is not aware of that particular regulation because he's so likely to ignore it that why would he even remember it?
To me, it seems like I think my interpretation is that she made it up because she wants to join the.
Dude, Dan, look at me. Dan, look at me. Look at me.
Dude.
For real?
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Nice.
I'm with you, but I just don't know is the thing.
I just don't know.
I
guess
just
I didn't know.
because I'm so curious about this.
I don't know.
Because it's slightly different things depending on whether, like you said, is she just making up some regulation being like, hey, you told me to quote regulation, so I'm just going to pull some shit out of my Vulcan fucking ass? Did she do that? Or is she citing an actual regulation and Kirk is like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh shit, that's right. That's the one that
It is not logical.
I never fucking follow that regulation, so I just kind of forgot about it.
This is not logical.
For everything, there is a first time, Lieutenant.
Last one is, and this is just a continuation of the first one. Bones is giving Kirk shit for being hungry during dire times. Savick is still obsessing about the Kobayashi Maru. Like, she's obsessing a long time over this. Like, to the point where, like, I think a normal human obsessing about it this long is it's something I would do is obsess over something like that for a long time, and people would just be like, till the point where people would be like, dude, let it go, you know? And I don't think a Vulcan would obsess the same way I would.
I mean, I disagree with you because I think somebody who's I don't know what the term is, brown noser is too much because that brown nosing is done for a purpose. I think she actually wants to be right. She actually wants to understand.
But if you're a Vulcan, it's not logical to have to.
I disagree. They're tryhards.
No,
that's what I'm looking at.
because
She's a fucking tryhard.
She was told the purpose of the training mission. It's not logical for her to figure out how to beat something that is unbeatable. That's illogical.
Oh, she still doesn't fully understand.
She doesn't believe them that it's unbeatable. He told her from the start that it was unbeatable.
She's just not comfortable with the idea.
Yeah, that's emotion. That's an emotion.
Yeah, but to me that's not a problem with Vulcans because I think Vulcans are full of shit anyway. Right?
I mean,
that's
if you're
always been my position.
Okay, if you're just gonna go off the premise that Vulcans are totally full of shit, then there's no.
They're not totally.
Then there's no
like a little.
There's no purpose of having this discussion with you at all because you're just gonna say, well, Vulcans are just full of shit.
No.
Yeah, you're just full of shit.
A little bit full.
I mean, that's just like saying well, because this and that, then this. You're like, no, but whoever said that's full of shit. It's like there's no discussion beyond that statement.
I'm content to discuss because my argument is not that they're totally full of shit. It's like a little full of shit. When they're all like, we don't feel any emotion. It's like, well, then why do you got that Kolinar bullshit where you're like all extra don't believe in emotion? Come on. Like most of you don't do the Kolinar. If you do the Kolinar, okay, I can buy that maybe you don't believe in emotion. But most of you motherfuckers haven't gone through that fucking Kolinar shit. You're still hanging out doing other shit. You got a little jealousy, you got a little bitterness, and you want people to think you're smart.
Are you out of your Vulcan mind?
Here's what I propose, gentlemen, if you're okay with
it.
I propose we take another brief break.
Oh, shit.
And then we just have a little extra bonus end bit where we'll wrap up our discussion because it'd be fun to talk about how this movie concludes, and we haven't talked enough about how awesome Ricardo Montalban is. So how about we do that?
Yeah, I guess we can do it.
All right, so Dan's doing some ad hoc sound clip selection. Good. All right, so I'm going to say the code word, and then Dan's going to play the clip. All right, we will be right back.
The game's not over.
And we're back.
Trainees, to the briefing room.
That sounded very TOS. I know it wasn't, but it sounded very TOS.
Yeah.
Trainees, to the briefing room.
Trainees, to the briefing room.
Excellent. All right.
Salad.
All right. So we're back in a not unprecedented, but a rare fourth break. And we will conclude our thoughts, wrap up to talk about anything we wanted to talk about, duties and no duties, and all those whatnots and whatsits.
We should at least mention the super sad scene.
Of course. Are you talking about? Sorry, I was about to go on a whole joke rant, but you know, you're talking about the funeral, right?
Yeah,
Spock's funeral.
I'm talking about Spock specifically dying.
When Spock dies, he sacrifices himself. Yeah. That's Kirk actually doing the Kobayashi Maru.
But I do want to mention that I am a big fan of the rainbow effect when they warp. How
me too.
The thing makes a rainbow smudge.
By the way, I think we've alluded to it. We've hinted at it. I will assert aggressively that the production quality in this film is fantastic. For a film made in 1982, when you're watching the nice 4K version, it is clean. The ship looks great. The shot selection is brilliant. Dan, you referenced the whole the geography and the geometry of the shots when the Reliant and the Enterprise are battling in the Mutara Nebula.
And then there's just some quiet scenes of the ships just kind of floating around. It's great.
Really, really nicely done. Very nicely rendered.
And there's a great shot where Kirk is crossing his arms and his leg near the end in the captain's chair.
Yeah.
And he goes, time. And Savick is like 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
He looks so fucking nervous.
He's all scrunched up.
Shatner does some of his best acting in this movie. This movie and Star Trek 3 are probably peak Shatner acting. And I mean, I don't mean that as an insult because I like Shatner's acting. I think Shatner, the cliched gag about him on TOS being an over actor, by and large, I think not true. I think he was a very good actor back then. He had a very positive career before Star Trek, but in Star Trek 2, he's really given some opportunities to do some interesting stuff. All right, that was not enough of a hook for Dan to leap into some other branch of the conversation.
Well, there was one part where I'm trying to find out. Okay, it says 4 minutes. Okay. Oh yeah.
When Khan sets off the Genesis device.
Yes. The
end bits which is where
I was trying to find something specifically about that. Yeah, the end bit.
Yeah, because we didn't really talk about the specifics, but the long and the short of it is that Kirk is able to fuck up Khan enough that Khan is like, okay, you think you've won? You haven't won. I've got one more trick up my sleeve, and that's to set off this fucking Genesis device.
You can't do this on Nintendo.
You haven't won. I have won. So the timer. He sets the timer. They say it's 4 minutes.
You said timer like they said Slimer.
Slimer. The timer
in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, Connor's gonna Genesis their ass. So he sets the timer to 999. That's what the counter says, right? It says 999, and it's
some unit.
Well, it's supposed to represent 4 minutes, as far as I can tell. Because didn't they say there's 4 minutes?
That's what they said is 4 minutes. But does 999 work out? That doesn't. Right? So it's not seconds. So this could be some other unit of time.
Right. So
space time.
So 4 minutes is 240 seconds. That means each tick is about a quarter of a second.
Okay.
Because if it's 240 seconds for 4 minutes, 240 seconds would 999 ticks. 240 divided by 999 is about a quarter of a second. So it's about a quarter of a second per each of those ticks. It reminds me of ice hockey on Nintendo. The timer would go down, but they were quicker than seconds.
Okay.
So I just thought that was an interesting thing to note, was that the timer was not quite accurate.
And I would agree that was an interesting thing to note.
And there's also another fucking crazy fucking number scene.
Hey, Jesse, can you believe this?
This is the craziest shit.
I can't believe it.
This is the craziest part. This
By the way,
might be the craziest
and
part.
By the way, I got to tell the audience at home, Dan did not tell Jesse and I about this ahead of time.
No.
We did not know about this.
Okay, when they first meet with Khan and they sneaky, it was awesome how they sneaky, like, they overrode the Reliant codes.
Yes.
That was super. That was an
prefix
awesome
codes.
The prefix codes. There was a lot of cool sneaky moves like that. through the
Brilliant.
movie. Yeah, it's great.
Brilliant. We're not mentioning them because every other discussion of this movie has mentioned all this stuff.
But what I bet not many people have mentioned is the crazy way they have to enter those prefix codes in.
With the actual manual switches?
With the switches. The way they enter the code, they don't have a keypad. They don't have a keypad. They have,
but they do have keypads. But for some reason, they don't have it for this thing.
No, they have 10 switches, one for each digit, 1 through 9, and then 0. So, given this system, I would assume that you would flip the switch up to enter the number, and then if they were to use this,
like it, right?
In my world, you would flip the switch up to enter the number, and then the switch would go back into place. So you had the option to hit the number multiple times, but it stays up. It stays up, so that means you cannot use the same number more than once. You push it up, it turns from yellow to green, and it stays up. So if you could use the numbers more than once in that particular situation, I calculated, I think it's about, if you could use a number more than once, you'd have about 10 billion possible codes, right? But in this case here, there's only about 30,000 possibilities because they can't repeat a number. Why would you make it like that? So not only do they limit the amount they can use because they can't use the same number twice, but why are they fucking switches in any case? Even like ignoring the fact that it cuts down how many possible numbers they can have, why would you have switches you flip up? And what happens if you enter them in order and then you unflip the first switch? What happens? Does the first number just turn into nothing?
I'm really lamenting that the audience can't see how Dan is acting out.
It's fucking crazy.
He's gesticulating wildly and making a lot of jerk off type motions and a lot of like, I don't know, this or that with his hands. So very difficult to describe at this late stage in the evening. But it conveys to me the passion that Dan feels.
It's insane
with this point.
It's insane. I don't know why. Now I know why they might have done it in the movie to make it more dramatic, but couldn't they have seen how insane that the way of entering numbers is?
Yeah.
Why not use a keypad?
It seems crazy to me as well.
And if you're going to use switches, have it flip back down again so you can use the same one again.
Agreed. I cannot disagree.
It's like, I affirm I've used 1. Therefore, I can only use the other 9 numbers now. Now I have affirmed that I've used my one allotment of 2.
My one allotment of 2. Yeah. There's something very philosophical about that.
Yeah.
But we won't break that down now. Because we're in a rare 4th break.
What about when Khan says, "Aft torpedoes, fire!" and he puts his fist up.
Yeah, it's all great.
It's great.
Like, Ricardo Montalban is a fucking amazing in this movie. Yeah. everyone knows the lore. Of course, Ricardo Montalban was on TOS and Space Seed, went on to great acclaim and fame in a number of different shows. And he was on Columbo, but especially famous on Fantasy Island. But the thing was, like,
If you see his photo, he's got this cute, this sexy mustache.
Yes.
This like pinstripe mustache. I don't know what you call them.
Drawn on mustache.
One of those little thin mustaches.
Pencil
mustache. Pinstripe. Pinstripe is a suit. Pencil mustache. He looks totally different.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Well, I was just saying that he is having so much fun here. And you can see why he was excited to take this role and did everything he could with it. But you believe it, right? As over the top and theatrical as he's being, you can buy it because it's Ricardo Montalban and he's so fucking sexy and he's so fucking awesome. And he's a character that even if you disagree with him and want Kirk to win, you're still like, oh yeah, he's kind of fucking, look at those fucking pecs.
Yeah.
Look at this guy, he's so fucking awesome.
The way they show off his pecs is pretty amazing.
He's got like a rusted old Starfleet symbol as a necklace.
And they're so close to showing his nipples, but they don't, which makes it sexy somehow.
I think doesn't his nipple pop out once?
It might, but like,
I don't 100% know.
It's possible, but for most,
I might have imagined it.
He might have hoped.
I might have dreamed it.
Yeah, but for most of it, you don't see his nipple. For most of it, it's like on the very edge of showing his nipple, you know, and that's pretty cool, you know. If you wanna. But at one point, by the way, they say Z minus instead of T minus.
Yes, because it's the Z axis. You have the X and the Y, and the Z is the vertical axis.
But were they talking about distance? They weren't talking about time?
No, time. I know distance. Yeah, 100% distance. Yeah, like X, Y is, X is this, and then Y is this, and then Z is this.
But when they say T minus, they're talking about time.
Probably.
Oh, they do. You're right. They say Z minus 10,000 meters.
Z minus. It means you're going on the Z axis and minus 10,000.
I was confused because I forgot they said Z minus 10,000 meters. I thought they were using time, in which they say T minus. But Z minus is meters, therefore. Okay, makes sense.
We're all good.
We're all
Waiters.
good. Sorry to waste your time.
No, you didn't waste my time.
Jesse, did I waste your time?
No.
Oh, the action suspense horror thing. So there was the horror of the
eels.
The eels going in the ears, which by the way would cause massive like eardrum damage. I'm surprised it doesn't.
One would presume.
But that's not the only horror aspect. The other horror aspect is when they're on the
on regular one.
On regular one.
And McCoy like fucking runs into some fucking hanging corpses.
Yeah, and even before that, it's like
Jim!
Even before that, it feels like you're an alien or something like that.
Well, it's obviously directed similarly to Alien that came out a few years before, 1979, I believe.
And then there's there's this end of this scene which is kind of jarring. It goes from serious to kind of
Jar Jar Binks.
Because the other is happy space adventure. Sometimes I feel they play the space adventure music when they should be playing the dramatic music. And I'm not judging them. It just is a little like
Dan is not judging.
Because like for example, at the end when they go to Spock when he's dying at the end, they start with adventure space music when when he's going to find Spock, but they don't start the sad music until a little later.
I didn't interpret that as adventure space music. I interpreted that as like I don't know what's happening. I'm upset. Everything's getting tense. Well, everything's tense music.
Here's a transition I thought was jarring from Khan to Kirk when the first time we meet Khan.
And tell me where I may find James Kirk.
Enterprise to Admiral Kirk's shuttle.
I like that because
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just think it's kind of jarring.
It is jarring, but for me, it's a good jarring because we have the sinisterness of Khan, and we know as the audience what's happening behind the scenes, and then we get back to Kirk, and Kirk is he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah,
it's all jiggly bingley.
I know. I didn't say it's. I never said it was bad.
Oh my God,
I just think it's such a tonal shift from one thing to the other. It's kind of like whoa.
It is.
You know?
Yeah. No, you're right.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was suspense stuff too going on.
Okay, suspense stuff. Is this another list?
No. I was just talking about it was action, suspense, horror, kind of just mixing genres.
It's a good mix of genre. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I did have a list dealing with podcast stuff, but I don't really.
What does podcast stuff? You mean the Khan podcast?
Khan podcast.
I am interesed because we haven't discussed enough.
I don't know
in this podcast, in the It's Got Star Trek podcast, we haven't discussed enough about how the context of Khan's podcast changes
It's really kind of super
influences, because it does a little bit, particularly around Joachim.
Yeah, there's just some, I mean, it's kind of superficial stuff. Like one of the things is they mentioned the dino scanner in this one.
Yes.
And then they talk, because I
talk about that on the Star Trek.
And I'd forgotten that was a Khan thing, or the Wrath of Khan thing.
Because we went on a whole riff about dinosaurs, as I recall.
Yeah,
I'm
we did.
sure it was really hilarious. I can't remember the specifics, but no, definitely, folks, go listen to the Star Trek Con podcast, and then listen to our coverage of the Star Trek Con podcast. So I stand behind each and every one of those episodes.
So in the podcast, supposedly Khan is made aware. This is spoiler for the podcast. Khan is made aware that Delmonda destroyed SETI Alpha 6, but the premise
on accident.
Yeah. But the premise of the Wrath of Khan is that he's and it ends like that on the podcast, that he's pissed at Kirk because he thought that Kirk knew of that SETI Alpha 5 would explode. Yeah. So I'm not sure why he's still pissed off at Kirk, because Kirk didn't send him to a doomed planet because
so here's the deal.
Because like Delmonda was like, I blew that shit up.
Yeah, here's the deal. We should make it explicit what we're talking about, which is that one disconnect between Space Seed on TOS and Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, is that at the end of Space Seed, while Kirk was indeed marooning Khan and his people on a planet, they were marooning them on a planet that was filled with resources. And they left on relatively good terms. I'm not saying Khan was like all excited about it, but Khan was like, hey, at least I got like this whole fucking planet. I can like take over and like we can do this whole thing. And Kirk was kind of into it too, right? Because Kirk was like, hey, this guy's an asshole, but hey, maybe he'll do something fun on this planet and he won't be bothering other people. All right. And then you start Star Trek 2. I think very intelligently, Nicholas Meyer, he went back, he watched TOS when he got hired to be the director, and he chose Space Seed. He said, this is something we can follow up on. But Khan is straight up like, fuck Kirk. Kirk is a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And it's always been an issue that the audience has brought up, that the mere explosion, the apparently incidental explosion of SETI Alpha 6 fucking up SETI Alpha 5 was not sufficient motivation for Khan to be so fucking pissed at Kirk specifically. Mm-hmm. And the Khan podcast goes a long way, I argue not 100%, but goes a long way towards providing the rationale why Khan went from like kind of into taking over this planet to being fucking pissed at Kirk specifically.
He's just kind of blaming Kirk for his whole predicament in general, when it's not Kirk's fault at all.
Yeah, but not only for Kirk putting him there in the Khan podcast, he does mention Kirk never came to check
he never did check on him.
Starfleet never, nobody came to check on them. It wasn't like Lower Deck style where they have somebody who can follow up and like do all like the, let's just make sure things are okay kind of thing. And that's a legitimate point. And I think for the theme of this movie being about aging, part of quote unquote aging is not just like getting old. It's dealing with the fact that you did certain things in your past that you thought maybe were concluded. And now it's turning out, you know what? Something's popped up that you didn't expect. This is a very extreme version of that. But that's what's happening here, is Kirk is having to reconcile decisions he made previously that are now impacting his current life and ultimately lead to the sacrifice of his best buddy and potential, possibly lover, Spock.
Potential lover.
Possibly.
This is just, this was sort of something that never got really explained in the podcast either. How they killed the eel's nest in the podcast, but we never really got clued into like where the other eel's nest came from.
Yeah, you're right, because there was like extra, they were like in the water or something.
Yeah.
There was like extra eels. Yeah. I think that just was chalked up to they
fucked up.
They thought they knew where all the eels, SETI eels were, and they were wrong about that.
So the podcast ended on Khan was, first of all, at one point he was like, he started off being like, I'm all for my people, right? And then he like turned his back on his people. He was like, I'm just getting the fuck out of here. But it ended with a redemption of him again wanting to lead his people again. But in this in this movie, he turned his back on his people again because there was the whole scene where Joachim was like, you proved your superior intellect by a callback.
That's a callback to the podcast.
Superior intellect.
That's a retroactive, not intentional callback to the podcast.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying.
Again, the podcast was really...
Easter egg from the podcast. That's what I meant.
People who haven't listened to the podcast, go listen to the podcast. It's totally worth it. It's really fucking well written.
Yeah, it's good.
It's great. You will be entertained by it.
And so
the Joachim stuff is really interesting.
And he's like, you got the Genesis device. You're super smart. You don't need to beat him again. And so Joachim's like, do what you said. Like, you already were going to ditch us once and said you were going to help us. But then Khan, once again, he's like, no, I got to get him. So once again, Khan is proving that he hasn't learned anything.
He has not learned anything. And it's the Ahab. It's the obsession.
He's really full of shit.
Even when it's clear that he's going to fail. Mm-hmm. He's going to fail all his people. He puts his revenge, his quest for revenge ahead of the good of all. That's also a callback to the Khan podcast.
We already talked about this one was the name Joaquin and Joachim. Yeah. That whole point was made. There's a lot of eternity talk. Like Kirk in the movie, he goes, "You were going to kill me, Khan. You're going to have to come down here. You're going to have to come down here." Khan's like, "I've done far worse than kill you. I've hurt you, and I wish to go on hurting you. I shall leave you as you." Khan does a lot of these like dramatic, super dramatic pauses. By the way, it takes him forever to say things. Even Mr. Chekhov.
Mr. Chekhov.
Literally has like 4 beats.
Yeah.
Like actual musical beats.
Right.
It's like boom, boom,
Chekhov. Chekhov. But then he says, and then Khan says, "As you left her, marooned for all eternity in the center of a dead planet, buried alive, buried alive."
He makes the same mistake Kirk made, which was to leave his enemy alive on a planet.
They kept talking about eternity in the podcast a lot too. There's this sort of theme of eternity.
The last episode was called Eternity's Fix.
Yeah, so eternity was a word, just like the whole superior.
Yours is superior.
Oh yeah, and then here's another one, superior one. When Kirk baited Khan into a fight, when Kirk says,
you said Kirk baited Khan. Talk about slash fiction, am I right?
I didn't say masturbate.
No, but you said baited. Isn't baited like a colloquial slang?
In that movie Idiocracy.
Is it? Oh, it is in that movie, yeah.
I've been, what did he say? I've been baiting.
He's baiting.
Baiting.
He says, "This is Admiral Kirk. We tried it once your way, Khan. Are you game for a rematch? Khan, I'm laughing at the superior intellect."
I love that shit. It's so well done, so well performed by Shatner.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in this part, David says, "You know enough to tell Saavik that how we face death is at least as important as how we face life." Kirk says, "Just words." We talked about that actually earlier too, how that was like what or Khan said to Delmonda when there's that. So
an ipso facto reverso callback.
Yeah, ipso facto reverso callback. Yeah. Plasmop.
Plasmop.
This is SETI Alpha 5!
There wasn't a lot of stuff there, but
that was good. That was good. Yeah. I don't know. We discussed most of the bits out of order and occasionally incomprehensible manner, but we made a series of excellent points. I think.
Yeah. I like how at the end, Kirk, when Kirk and David talk, like, Kirk has this front put up the whole time. Like David's trying to talk about the subject and Kirk's like, "Hey, you want my drink? You want me to drink?"
Yeah.
And then, David says, "Lieutenant Saavik was right. You never have faced death." And then Kirk suddenly then drops all pretense. And it's just like, he's like, "Oh, you're right." Yeah. And at that point, and then David starts using Kirk's logic to help him. He says, "You knew enough to tell Saavik that how we face death is at least as important as how we face life."
Clever rhetorical move, by the way.
And then Kirk says, "Just words." Which I didn't mention that? I didn't mention that.
You just did. If you
I did. That was point 8. That was point 8. Okay. Yeah, that was point 8 I made. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I thought it would happen a second time.
No,
I'm going wild here. I'm going wild. Whoa. Imagine how fucking...
it's late in the evening when Dan starts doing the "I'm going wild" voice.
Yeah, I imagine, man, when Khan saw Kirk or Chekhov and Terrell come down, and they're stuck on this fucking shit planet for so long. It must have been like getting on that ship. It must have been like going to Wild World or something. Like it's just like
Wild World fucking sucks, man.
Well, I mean,
it doesn't exist any longer.
I mean, if you
Wild World was a water park.
It was fun when I was a kid. I liked Wild
it had
World.
Like a wave pool.
It had slides. It had super slides. It had like it had more than a couple. It had like
all right.
It became Adventure World. Which is not any different except in name. It was sponsored. It was represented by Cal Ripken Jr.
Oh, there you go.
In the commercials. So I'm just saying that, like, you know, I think after 10 years on that planet, you would go fucking apeshit in your head.
Sure. They didn't really examine that so much.
Yeah.
Other than the implication that these people were pretty intense, but they sort of suggested that they were always going to be intense regardless of their situation.
When Spock, the moment Spock realizes that he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna die, was when they were talking about what was that? That was, I can't remember the scene exactly. It was about shit was about to explode, and then
I mean, this is the kind of thing you ought to remember, isn't it?
You ought to.
You're a professional podcaster.
Yeah, I don't remember the fucking scene. It was
conveying all this information to the listener. You're like, I'm commenting on this. I'm commenting on this film that was put together.
Okay, it's
this particular scene that I'm interested in.
They have 3 minutes to warp away. It takes 1 minute of warp. Kirk says, "Scotty, I need warp speed in 3 minutes, or we're all dead." And Spock looks forward. That's the moment that Spock knows.
Like, I gotta fix this shit.
I gotta fix this shit, and he knows he's gonna die.
Put on some gloves, mind meld with McCoy,
and he put
my Katra into his ass. Set up the plot for the next movie.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna direct. I'm gonna direct the next movie. I'm gonna direct the one with my three dads, or what was it called? The daughter with the three dads. You know, with the
3 Men and a Baby.
3 Men and a Baby. Why did I forget that?
I don't know.
Anyway,
he directed that.
Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, I didn't know that. So when Bones is like, "Are you out of your Vulcan mind? No human can tolerate the radiation that's in there." Spock says, "As you are so fond of observing, Doctor, I'm not human." Yeah. That was Spock like giving Bones like one last fuck you before he died.
Giving them the business.
Give him the business one last time. And then William Shatner did that stunt ladder slide.
Yes.
Like he slid down that ladder. That was all William Shatner. Yeah. But the sad scene, that was a really sad scene.
Oh, the death, you mean when Kirk comes to talk to Spock?
And something about the way Spock is all feeble in the corner, trying to pull himself up. Like
hugely upset.
He's like alone in the corner, all just like dying. And he's trying to pull himself, and he's trying to walk over to Kirk. And then like he still
bumps into the see-through business.
Yeah, which is
that's the most upsetting thing.
It's the most upsetting thing because in another context, it's funny slapstick.
Yeah.
But because it's not in that context, it's like extra tragic. Yeah. It's really awful.
This guy can't see straight.
But he still adjusts his uniform when he gets up. He still has that.
Tries to have some dignity.
Yeah.
As he melts to death.
One thing I don't agree with what he said to Kirk when he says,
"Don't grieve, Admiral."
I think, of course, you're supposed to grieve. I mean, we mentioned this before.
Yeah,
you're supposed to grieve.
I mean, I agree with you. The Vulcans are crazy.
I mean, I think a better way.
It's not logical to grieve. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, blah blah the logic.
Hey, people die. What are you gonna do?
You know,
I'm Vulcan.
Annie,
how much we are women? You're beautiful girls.
I would bet a better way. I don't know what a better way to say it would be, but just be like, it'll be okay, or this too shall pass. I don't know, something. But like, don't tell someone not to grieve.
Would you prefer if Spock was like, "This is some fucked up shit, man.
Yeah.
This is so fucked up."
And then Spock says, "I never took the Kobayashi Maru test until now. What do you think of my solution?" Spock made one last funny before dying.
It was hilarious.
It was funny.
It's true. I was like laughing my fucking ass off. I pissed myself laughing when Spock said,
"What do you think? My solution."
Y'all I can barely talk because of radiation poisoning. His skin is flaking off. I'm just like fucking knee slapper.
He made a joke. Vulcans. I mean, what is it? Savik was saying that humor was like hard to understand or whatever.
Humor. It is a difficult concept.
Spock gets it. Even in death, he gets it.
Oh, he's half human. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't mince words, Bones. Don't mince words, Bones. Don't mince words, Bones. Don't mince words, Bones.
That's a beat for you.
I'm afraid it's even harder than you think, Doctor. I'm afraid it's even harder than you think, Doctor.
That's amazing.
I'm afraid it's even harder than you think, Doctor. I'm afraid it's even harder than you think, Doctor.
Here's a Kirk symbol.
Paul Winfield, who we see later as in Darmok Enchilada at Tanagra.
Oh, that's
in
him.
Darmok. That's fucking Paul Winfield.
What do you really think? What do you really think? What do you really think? What do you really think?
I mean, what I think is that we should do the fucking duty.
Wait, listen to the end of this part.
What do you really think?
That's a Kirk symbol at the end.
A Kirk, oh yeah. He's like his breathy outburst.
Yeah, his breathy outburst. Because
outgassing.
Remember, I had this.
That was last week.
That was last week.
Was that Lear? Was that Lieutenant Commander Lear or whatever rank she is?
Yeah, that was Lear who did that. Right. That was Lear who did that. So you want to do? I'm moving the sound. I forgot to move the sound into the soundboard. Soundboard. Okay, so yeah, so we have.
I gotta say, Dan, I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, Lear snare, and a Kirk symbol.
Lear snare and a Kirk symbol.
Yep.
Listeners to the It's Got Star Trek podcast, you can't say we haven't provided you value. So just across this 2 hours of nonsense, there's value in there. Do you have when it transitions into the orchestra playing it?
That's a little joke.
Yeah. They're all playing like this song. It's so sad. And then it goes to the fucking orchestra. It's all like, oh, it's so beautiful.
I know, it is beautiful. I didn't catch it. Was too heavy for me to grab.
It was pretty fucking heavy.
Okay, let's do duty or no duty.
All right, we'll do. Hey, while you're getting duty or no duty ready, I will, of course, comment on a couple things real briefly.
Oh, of course.
Originally, Spock just fucking dies, and they showed this to the test audiences, and the test audiences were like, "This is fucked up. We're sad." So then they went back. And they added in the Spock remember shit with McCoy, and they added in the soft landing of Spock's coffin on the Genesis planet. So that, as well as the Leonard Nimoy doing the Space, the Final Frontier voiceover, that was all added after audience reaction was like, this movie's a fucking bummer, man.
Well, did they bring Spock back because of the audience reaction, or were they always going to bring Spock back?
So here's the deal. And again, I think this is probably common knowledge, but in case it isn't, I don't want to assume it is, because we have a number of younger listeners. But Leonard Nimoy.
I'm glad you say it like I say it now.
I mean, I do that as a joke affectation, but you're right. Now I kind of just say it that way. Leonard Nimoy.
We're dangerous.
He no longer wanted to play Spock. He was sort of fed up with this whole business.
Oh, he wanted to do the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins instead.
Exactly. He was feeling annoyed at being typecast, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he made it, whatever the deal was to do Star Trek II. He was like, this is my last fucking movie. I'm only going to do it if you fucking kill Spock off. So they're like, okay, fine. We'll do that. They do that. And people freak the fuck out. The other thing that happens is in the process of filming the movie, Leonard Nimoy really enjoyed it. And he said, you know what? I hadn't been enjoying this in a while, but now I'm kind of regretting this whole killing my character off thing. So he became open.
You are in a position to demand nothing.
He became open to both adding in some stuff to the movie, right? Like the remember and the soft landing of the coffin, adding that in to give people some hope, basically to give the audience, to tell the audience, hey, this is Star Trek. This might not be.
But you said they added that stuff in to please the audience.
Yes.
So
Leonard Nimoy was cool with it at that point because they'd already done the filming of the movie.
So you're saying originally they wanted it, Spock was dead for good. Then the audience was like,
Leonard Nimoy wanted Spock dead for good.
Okay, but then the audience was like, that's too much of a bummer. And at that point, Leonard Nimoy was like, I will do more.
To be more accurate, the audience was straight up, hey, great movie, but it's a fucking bummer of an ending. And they were like, you know what? We can make it less of a bummer of an ending if we give some indication that there's at least the chance.
But that, my question is,
Spock is still alive.
Did they still plan to bring Spock back even without that indication?
At this stage, I don't think they knew yet. I think they were, from the studio's perspective, they were perfectly happy to have fucking Leonard Nimoy stay alive and keep doing Spock. And then Leonard Nimoy was like, okay, I'll come back to Star Trek 3 if you let me fucking direct that shit.
Okay, so
because then he wanted to get the experience as a director.
As legend goes, the audience decided too much of a bummer, and after that, Leonard Nimoy decided he'll do more.
Yeah, because it originally just ended with like Spock dying and Kirk being like, "Okay, I guess Spock's fucking dead."
Yeah,
that sucks.
It sucks.
But then, it's a slightly uplifting ending because it's just like there's new life. Genesis, by definition, means creation.
You can't do this on Nintendo.
All right. Any other bits and bobs?
At one point, Kirk says, "Scotty, get us out of here. Best speed possible."
Yeah.
He didn't say fastest. He just said best speed.
Oh, okay.
So best speed, that might have meant they went slower than they could have gone.
Why?
Well, what's best mean? Why didn't he just say fastest?
He probably presumes Scotty would understand it means fastest.
Well, like I'm saying, when you say best speed, that's with the implication of go fast, but not too fast. Go the best speed.
I don't know.
More is not necessarily better.
I get what you're saying.
He should have just said fastest.
I get what you're saying. I think
there's no reason to say best when you're trying to say faster.
In that situation, I think everyone would assume Scotty would interpret that as being.
Well,
like,
in any situation, I would assume a normal person would have just said fastest.
Well, okay.
And Spock does the fucking thing where he says 2.2 minutes. What does that mean? Does that mean 2 minutes and 12 seconds?
I don't know.
Because 0.2
of a minute.
But yeah, 2.2 goes into 1 5 times, 12 goes into 65 times. So when he says 2.2 minutes, is he saying 2 minutes and 12 seconds?
I would presume so.
Then why didn't he say 2 minutes and 12 seconds?
Because he's fucking
Vulcan. Because he says things like 5.63 seconds.
Yeah, Data does the same thing.
Sauce for the goose.
Precisely.
Sauce for the goose.
Exactly.
Sauce for the goose, Mr. Savick.
The only last thing I'd mention is that you alluded to it earlier, or might have stated specifically about it, Dan, when Kirk and Savick and all of them are hanging out in the Genesis cave.
Yeah.
In the regular moon.
That was cool.
It was cool. I want to stress that it's more than cool when Savick asks about how he solved the Kobayashi Maru, and he explains, and then he says, "I don't believe in a no-win situation." Flips open his fucking communicator. It's like, "Spock, it's been 2 hours. You ready?" And Spock's like, "Yeah, bro." And I'm like, that's like the most badass thing in cinema. And I know people are going to say that's ridiculous. I'm not exaggerating. I honestly think, as an example, in terms of movie storytelling, how you create a punchline that satisfies the previous setup, that's one of the best things ever. When he's all the stuff that led up to this point where he just casually flips that shit open, he's like, "Hey, Spock, you right?"
And
so fucking awesome.
And I mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it again. Listen for the apple at the end.
I don't like to lose.
Crunches that fucking apple
like an exclamation point.
And again, as we've mentioned, the music in the background is awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
We are one big happy fleet.
The other thing I wanted to mention was Ricardo Montalban. Of course, he's awesome. People, if you don't know him from other stuff, there's a reason he was in Space Seed. There's a reason he was in The Wrath of Khan. In both periods, he was really good commodity in terms of actors because he's so fucking awesome. He was in The Naked Gun, right? The original Naked Gun. He played the bad guy. He was awesome. He was in Fantasy Island, which if you got Pluto or one of those streaming services, check it out. Fantasy Island's pretty fucking entertaining. He's fun in it. He was in a great episode of Columbo in season 5 of Columbo. I think it was called A Matter of Honor. It's not the best Columbo, but Ricardo Montalban is great in it. But especially, I'd like to point people towards a movie called Sweet Charity. It's Sweet Charity. It's directed by fucking Bob Fosse. It's written by Neil Simon and Federico Fellini, and it stars Shirley MacLaine and Ricardo Montalban. It's all got all sorts of dancing and stuff. It's not the best movie in the world, but Ricardo Montalban is amazing. Top of his game in that flick. You should check it out.
I'm sorry that you feel that way, Doctor.
I just want to mention that is like the worst apology. When people say that, that's not a good apology.
I agree. Now, granted, Chekhov was all fucked up, and what are you gonna, right?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Okay. so that was our extra puffy episode. Extra puffy episode.
Well, we didn't do any of the duty or no duties.
Oh yeah, we can do duty or no duties. Okay. We got plenty of time.
Let's go through them quick.
Normally we do movies in 2 parts, but this is a 1-part movie, so it's an extended puffy episode.
Yeah, it's puffy.
Right, duty or no duty.
Number 1.
This is not about age. And you know it. It's about you flying a goddamn computer console when you want to be out there hopping galaxies.
Spare me your notions of poetry, please. We all have our assigned duties.
Oh.
Duties. Duties. Duties.
It's a borderline one for me. Borderline for me. What do you think, Jesse?
I say no.
Yeah. It's hard for me because it is right on that line, but I might lean more towards a duty. It's not a super, it's not super
you can't,
clear.
Wait, that's not one of the answers.
Oh, I mean, it's a no duty.
Yes.
Duties.
No duty.
You know,
duties.
I feel like I want to say duty, but like it really is.
Duties.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to have to, in an unprecedented maneuver,
This is unprecedented.
I'm going to say no duty.
No duty.
Dan's almost always all about the duties.
Yeah.
But this is a no duty.
Yeah, it's close enough. I'll give it to him.
Duty. All right.
Duties.
Next one.
These are pets, of course.
So amazing.
Not quite. Domesticated.
Khan, Captain Kirk was only doing his duty. Doing his duty. Doing his duty.
We can all agree that that's a no duty.
That's a no. Yep. That's a no duty.
Okay, easy.
That's very clearly enunciated.
Two more.
As a teacher, on a training mission, I am content to command the Enterprise. If we are to go on actual duty, it is clear that the senior officer on board must assume command. Yeah. On actual duty. On actual duty. On actual duty.
For me, that's a no duty.
I think so.
That's a duty. That's strangely, the Vulcan is a duty for me.
Usually the Vulcan's a no duty. In this case, it's a no duty for me.
No duty.
On actual duty.
So far,
I can't believe that you were on the fence about the first one, but not this one. Because to me, the first one sounds more like this.
Duties.
That sounds more like no duty than this.
On actual duty.
No
duties.
Duty.
On actual duty.
Duties.
I don't know.
Danny Bobani.
I freely admit it could be my prejudice or bias or whatever it was, some sort of embedded stereotype in my mind about Vulcans being more enunciative. So me thinking it's a no duty, but I gotta say, I think it's a no duty.
So you think this is closer to duty than this?
On actual duty.
They're both very close, but to me,
the second one is more of a no duty.
More of a no duty for me.
That's confusing to me because
I understand. I get it
because that doesn't make sense to me. But whatever, we're entitled to
hearing.
Whatever.
Hearing is not objective. Hearing is not objective.
Well,
it's not. It isn't.
It's
your brain learns what to hear.
I mean, everything is everything.
If you're trained in a certain language, you literally won't hear.
Everything's how it's supposed to be.
Thing.
Nothing is nothing. Up is down. Left is right. Green is purple. I mean, what?
This is not a postmodernist situation.
Okay, last one.
It's just the nature of neurology.
By order of Starfleet Command, as of now, 1800 hours. I'm assuming command of this vessel. Duty officer so note in the ship's log. Duty officer so note.
Okay, for me, that indeed is a duty.
Duty officer so note.
Jesse, what do you think?
Duty officer so note. Duty officer so note.
Yeah, it sounds duty.
That's a duty.
Sounds duty.
Jesse takes like special extra care.
He was like tilting his head back and forth, like,
Duty officer so note.
I love the music.
Yeah,
the music. And like in the Spock one, it's all like, it's all like la 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 doo 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 doo. I'm like floating through space stars. Blue blue blue.
I'm Vulcan. I'm mystical.
And this is like some kind of military horns shit.
By order of Starfleet Command, as of now, 1800 hours.
Snare drum in the
I'm assuming command of this vessel. Duty officer so note in the ship's log.
I can't tell what I want to say trombone, or is it a French horn? I can't tell.
Could be a French horn.
It might be a French horn.
I lean more towards French horn.
It seems a little bit too enunciated to be a trombone.
Wow. Then you're a master bonist.
Yeah, it's weird that I don't know that.
Yeah.
I must be an asshole.
Well,
enunciated bonus.
I'm sorry, Doctor. I have no time to discuss this logically.
Better. Hurry.
Please. Please, you gotta give us time, though.
We've got to get out of here now.
All right, I'm not 100% sure how those are all connected, but I have faith that they are.
No, they are, because we're running out of time here. We got to go.
I got you. Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed at least some aspects of that conversation. About
and if you didn't, go eat my butt.
That's exactly right.
Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan.
The Wrath of Khan.
Look backwards in the feed if you want to check out our coverage of the Star Trek Con podcast or Space Seed. We've completed our con cycle.
I've enjoyed this con thing, but I'm kind of glad to be able to move on from from
Yeah,
Khan.
you're conned of glad. to be
One
moving
more.
forward.
One more.
Yeah, indeed. We're done with this.
No!
Next week, we will begin our coverage of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which just started airing. If you're listening in real time, if you're listening in the future, well,
Future.
who cares? You know,
Who cares? We're not there yet.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So yes, next week, Starfleet Academy, and for the continuing weeks beyond until all those episodes are exhausted, and then we'll go back to picking random episodes of Star Trek. Blah, 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 blah. There's going to be all sorts of fun. No! So don't forget to write in with your guesses for Where the Hell Have I Heard That Before? Feedback at isgotstartrek.com. www.isgotstartrek.com. Patreon.com/isgotstartrek. At isgotstartrek on social media, YouTube, Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That's really helpful. Anything else, Dan, or do you just want to play your old clip?
Blooby, 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 bloop.
All right. With that, we'll say goodbye.
Live long and prosper.
When he dies.
Kirk.
City Alpha 6 has checked out.
Right. Let's go.
Savick? Go? Where are we going? Where they went. Suppose they went nowhere.
Then this will be your big chance to get away from it all.